What up, everybody? Sports fans all over the world. It's your boy, MacDaGiantsFan, coming here with my homies, the four horsemen, Adam Costas, Zion Zenith, NYGJeffyT3285, and of course your boy, yours truly, MacDaGiantsFan. This is the Premium Takes Podcast. Let's go, baby.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? And thank you guys for being here. We had some technical difficulties at the start of the program, but we got that fixed now. As you guys noticed, we are being broadcasted on all of our channels. I know that Jeffy and Adam, I don't know if they had a chance to set up their channels. So if you don't see their channels, don't worry, they'll be broadcasted to their channels network next week. We also are being broadcasted by Hardcore Sports. Just a little collab, a group of individuals that got together to form just kind of like a super diehard sports fan collection of content creators that you guys are getting. So as you can see up by Jeffrey's beautiful face, we got the Hardcore Sports logo, and what that basically is like I said, just a bunch of guys that love talking sports. So there's all teams. We're trying to find everybody to represent every single team around the league. I know we got some Dallas fans, we got some Eagles fans, we got some Giants fans, which is us, and then we got some Washington Commanders fans and a few other teams around the league too. But shout out to AK. I don't know if you guys subscribe to him, but go subscribe to Eagles Uncensored. AK. He's a co-founder of this Hardcore Sports Network. So shout out to him for bringing the premium takes to be a part of this great collaboration that we got going on. So I'm super excited for that, and I'm super excited to do this podcast with you guys today. That being said, we lost one of our co-hosts, but it looks like he's back now. I had some technical issues, so we have Mac up there holding down the stream. We're not going to have any banners tonight, guys, basically due to technical difficulties and me rushing home from work. We're not having any banners, but I want to say thank you, everybody, for being here. We see you, Troy. What's up, Troy? We see you, Mitch, Randall. We got Olivia in the house. We got Mac the Giants fans. Obviously, that's him up on screen, one of our co-hosts. We got EDD Coach in the house. Coach EDD, what's good? We got D. Cena, Big Play Slade, Logan, and Namir. So thank you guys so much for joining us all today. Our first questions I'd like to bring up to the panel is, so as you can see in the thumbnail, we got a bunch of movies. So we're going to be talking about some sports movies. And I'm going to ask my three co-hosts to kind of, just kind of think of three. And we'll take the time to touch on that throughout the show. So our first question, what I wanted to open up before we get into some updates. I know Jeff is a baseball fan. I know we have some baseball listeners out there. So we're going to get into some updates on baseball in just a second. But for now, we did the AFC last week on Adam's channel. This week, what we're going to be doing is the NFC, and we're going to be breaking down every NFC conference. And thank you, Mac. He's going ahead and he's dropping links for us. That being said, let's start with the NFC North. How do you guys see that division playing out? Jeff, if you want to begin.
I mean, in terms of the NFC North, I still believe out of all the teams that are going to be involved in that, I mean, I still think that Green Bay is going to be the favorite of that division because I just believe Aaron Rodgers being there, until somebody can go out there and knock this guy and his team off that mantle in that division, I just don't see right now either an upstart Minnesota team with a great young defense and a good team overall, and also some very solid playmakers. I think Detroit is still a team in the middle of a rebuild, and I think Chicago is going to be an absolute mess. I just believe that Green Bay, until you find a way to knock this team off, they're still going to be in control of that division going into the 2022 NFL season. Can I see a team like Minnesota possibly surprise and maybe upset a Green Bay over that division? Absolutely. Because Kirk Cousins doesn't get enough respect that he does. I think he's a very solid quarterback. He actually had a very good year last year. He threw over 30 touchdowns. And, I mean, Justin Jefferson is one of the best young receivers in the NFL. Dalvin Cook, when he's healthy, we know what this guy can do. And Adam Thielen, the guy is just consistent as hell when he's on the field as well. And you're getting – talk about on their defensive side of the ball, you're getting Danielle Hunter back, who is one of the best young pass rushers in the NFL. He unfortunately missed the entire last year of the division because of a back injury. But you're getting him back 100%. You just brought in a guy like Zadarius Smith who's going to come in there and he's going to help out that team going forward. So I really believe that the Vikings could be that other team to make some noise and possibly be able to upset that Green Bay Packers team for the division. But I still think in the end, Green Bay is going to be coming out of that division as the champs. And in terms of the rest of the division, I think Detroit is building something. I think they got some very young, solid pieces on the offensive side of the ball. You know, with a guy like Jamison Williams, Amon St. Brown did a good job during his rookie season, having over 90 receiving yards, about 5-6 touchdowns. I think this kid is one of the solid young slot receivers going in the NFL. I mean, I like DJ Chark, adding him in there as that vet wide receiver. And then, I mean, Goff is okay. He's not that bad. He's a solid quarterback. Nothing to go right home or anything. And then you got Hutchinson added to that defense. I'm not sure what's going on with Romeo Okwara. He's been having a little bit of issues coming back from his injury.
Real fast, Jeff. Can I just say something? If you mute your camera, if you don't show the camera, you'll be taking it out of the screen, Adam.
Okay.
Oh, I know, but I'm still in the studio, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, no, because I was reading your private chat. Bring me in, but that's probably super old. Continue. I'm sorry about that, Jeff.
No, it's okay. I just think that this Detroit team has got some very good young pieces on that roster, but I just don't think they're ready to compete for this year. I think they're still going to be in, a 4 or 5 win team, if anything. Maybe they could surprise with 6. And I just think Chicago's going to be a mess. I mean, their defense is pretty much just torn apart. There's really nobody left on that defense for when they had one of the best top defenses in the NFL a couple of years ago. Justin Fields, I feel bad for this kid. He doesn't really have an offensive line at all. I mean, Jenkins, who was the rookie last year, he's been banged up. He pretty much barely played at all. I mean, Allen Robinson is not on the team anymore. Darnell Mooney is a nice deep threat. Can he be the number 1 receiver? I don't know. Montgomery's a solid running back. I just don't like the Chicago team going into 2022. I think they could be a team competing for a top spot in the NFL draft in 2023. So I still think it's Green Bay's division going forward, unless a team like Minnesota could go out there, surprise, and maybe upset the Packers, especially with the fact that Green Bay lost a lot of pieces as well during the offseason with Aaron Rodgers signed that big contract. So I think Green Bay is going to win at least 10, 11 games. I could see Minnesota winning about 8, 9. Detroit will probably win about 6, and I think Chicago might win like 2 or 3 games this year. I don't think they're going to be a very good team at all. Go ahead, fellas.
I 100% agree with you for all the takes that you just said. I don't want to go into repeat, but yeah, I think let's just cover the Lions. I think the Lions have a futuristic roster for the future. What I mean by that is they can become a playoff-ready team here in a matter of 2 to 3 years. They have a really good foundation. All they really basically need is a quarterback and some pieces on defense. That being said, their offense, and everybody can use offensive lines. But if you look at the people that they have is going to be one of the best centers in the league, is going to be one of the best guards in the league. That's debatable, but I just think that Penisol and the center that they have is really great players and could play 10-year type of careers. 15 plus on the offensive line. Maybe not 15, you guys get the point. Long careers. That being said, the Bears are absolutely dog shit. So I don't see the Bears doing anything this season. That why Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, love that take. Vikings are sneaky, man. The Vikings, I actually have them in the playoffs this year. The Vikings have a Super Bowl contending type of team. Will they make the Super Bowl? Probably not. But they have a roster. They had a roster for the last 3 seasons. That being said, I'm really high on the Vikings this year. Not making it to the NFC Championship game, but competing in the playoffs, hopefully. That being said, I absolutely agree with Jeff in that order.
Would I consider Jeff Okudah a bust?
Well,
we're
talking the NFC North.
He was injured too.
Talking NFC North, man, it's the Green Bay Packers division until somebody else proves otherwise. So, how can you go against the Packers right now unless somebody else steps in here and proves that they're going to take this away from them? So, obviously, you got to start with the Packers winning this division. I just don't see it any other way right now. Minnesota is always somewhat competitive, but they always just fall short. Definitely bring them up in second place still, the second best team in this division. I mean, Detroit's up and coming. They're working hard. They made some decent moves this offseason. See what they could do. And by the way, Nikki, just to answer your question, I do consider Jeff Okudah somewhat of a bust. I mean, considering his draft status and what he's done so far, his first few years in this league, it's just not good enough, man. Where this guy was picked at, expect a lot more out of him in Detroit, but it is what it is. Detroit's been a very bad franchise, and I think they are on the rise. They got a decent coach in there, a tough, gritty coach, and they got some good pieces on that team, man. But they're still not quite good enough to compete with the Packers. I don't feel like, and I don't even think they can. They're still quite ready, even for the Vikings, to be honest. And then I also, once again, do agree with everything you guys have been saying. I think Chicago Bears are going to be absolutely one of the worst teams in the league this year. I just feel like this team hasn't done enough this offseason to show me that they were serious about improving. So I got them definitely pulling up the rear. However, right now, I don't think I see more than just the Green Bay Packers coming out of this division with a playoff spot right now.
Well, here's my take, and I'm going to agree with you on the teams, but I look at it like this. First off, don't sleep on Aaron Rodgers. Everybody's sleeping on that motherfucker, okay? Because everyone's like, oh, they lost Devontae Adams. Like, good quarterbacks make receivers better, period. Okay? So I don't care if he has me thrown out there, okay? He's going to be at least 13-3 with that team, period. Because that's what they were last year, and don't tell me just because they lost Devontae Adams, they're not going to be 13-3 again. The second team, Minnesota, is a team who's going to fight for a wild card spot. We say it every year, but they fall short. I think this is the year they punch their ticket. The other thing is, Detroit has a caca quarterback. Okay, so I don't really think Detroit's going to win 6 games, to be honest with you. What I think Detroit's going to do is they're going to win about 3 to 5 games to be in that quarterback mix next year, because at the end of the day, if you watch what they're doing, they're building their team for the quarterback that comes in next year. We labeled DJ Shark, all the other players they brought in, Amon St. Brown and so on, but they're doing it the opposite way that most teams do, and that's they're going to build the foundation and pluck the quarterback in there. Right? And a lot of people pick the quarterback. A lot of things, what happens is these bad teams pick a bad quarterback and they don't have anything in front of him to develop him. So then what happens is the team goes shitty for years, and they switch out coaches, and we're in the Dan Jones situation. Well, we didn't give this guy a chance, blah, 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 right? Now, if you do it this way, you're going to give your guy a chance because you brought in all the players. They're all going to be in place, and you're going to bring in a guy, and you can mold him to your system, right? So I don't really think Jared Goff does anything for me. I think they're going to be the same amount of wins, maybe 2 or 2 more max than they were last year. And then Chicago's intriguing because they got rid of Khalil Mack. They're rebuilding, and these things go sideways. These things can go sideways quickly, or they can become a competitive team quickly, depending on how they buy into the system. Now, Justin Fields is a guy who a lot of people liked last year. Was one of the consensus overall first-round draft picks in 2020. In 2020 coming out, a lot of people loved him. I know Jet fans loved the guy. I have a personal friend that loved him until the combine came up. So we'll see if his potential is what it is, and he can rise to the occasion. I think the problem in the NFL is because of what the Bengals have done and a lot of these other teams, this win now, while you're rebuilding, kind of puts this false hope in people's heads. Sometimes you just got to let the shit be bad and let them acquire draft pick. If you look at the NBA, look at what the Warriors did and look at what other teams have done. The Boston Celtics, their whole team was drafted, right? First round picks, second round picks. That's what you need to do to build a good football team. So for me, if I'm the Lions, I'm just building. This is an evaluation year. It's kind of like, don't even worry about winning. Just see who's going to be here next year. Almost like what Parcells did in 83, I think he was the coach. He basically had a bad season, but that season told guys, look, you ride with me, I'll take you to the promised land. We're going to weed out the people who don't want to be here. And if I'm Chicago, that's what I'm doing. You don't want to be here? Fine. If you're Justin Fields, you're not doing well, I'll put in the backup and I'll go from there. But that's what I feel Chicago has to do. So that's my take on it. It goes Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit, and Chicago.
Well, gentlemen, we got a question up here. We did cover the AFC last week. We don't have to obviously go back deep in depth about this. I mean, I can for instance tell her my predictions for the AFC West last week. I predicted the Chargers to win the division, followed by the Chiefs, the Denver Broncos, the Las Vegas Raiders, and actually picked the top three teams: the Chargers, Chiefs, and the Broncos, all to represent this division in the AFC playoffs. If you gentlemen want to go over y'all picks real quick, just overview.
Well, that's a little preview. That's all you guys get. You guys have to go back and watch episode 24 on Adam's channel. Go back, watch episode 24. We cover the whole AFC.
We put a lot of work for that.
Not only AFC West, we covered the whole AFC. So that you get a premium from Mac. And go check out episode 24 for the rest of that. And thank you so much, Nikki, for joining tonight's stream.
To quickly play out with you, Nikki and Olivia. Yes, I'm a Giant fan, so you'll hear, if you're on this stream a lot, you'll hear the Giants name a lot. But to answer Nikki's question quickly, I think it's a two-team race between LA and Kansas City, and then you have the Vegas Raiders, and then of course Denver, who's going to pull up the rear. But like Zion said, go listen to the stream and you'll find out who we think makes the playoffs. It's quite the interesting debate. I'm not going to go through it here because that would be burying the lead. I want you to go look, do your own research, smell a little bit, get to know Premium Takes a little bit. Go back and watch a couple of episodes. You'll find out who we like.
Absolutely. Like I said before we started, when we first started the show, some technical difficulties, rushing home from work, didn't have time to make the banners. So I'm sorry about that. But moving on to our next question of the night, let's touch into the world of baseball. Me, myself, I'm not really a baseball fan, but I know the guy right above me, Jeff, he loves baseball. So we're going to get into updates with Jeff. And if the boys want to chime in on any updates, any major breaking stories that went down in the world of baseball this past week, also too, how's your teams doing? What's their records looking like? And like I said, I don't really follow baseball. I think we're approaching maybe almost the middle of the season. So how do you see it playing out? I don't know if it's too early to tell. Like, I'm gonna let you take the mic.
Well, I mean, in terms of the New York Mets, I mean, I know they had a rough game today. They lost, unfortunately, to the Marlins 3-2. But I mean, they still were able to pick up the series win. And I mean, what else can I say about Pete Alonso? Then this guy is playing at an MVP level with what he's doing this year. Close to I think he's got 20 home runs right now, Mac. About 20 home runs. He's got about 66 RBIs. This guy's hitting almost a little bit under 300. This guy is having a MVP caliber year, and in a way, he's carrying that Mets offense right now to the first place in the division right now. And even a guy like Francisco Lindor has picked it up too. He even had a home run recently. He's been playing very well so far this season. I know that Jeff McNeil, before he got dinged up, has been playing very solid, has been batting over 300. He's been having a very solid year as well. Brandon Nimmo, Starling Marte, they've been doing a good job at the top of the lineup. You got Canna that's making some contributions towards the middle of the lineup. The pitching staff still gets me a little bit worried because Carlos Cookie Carrasco recently got hurt. It's like maybe not as severe, but his ERA and his pitching has been a little sporadic lately. Chris Bassett, the guy that we picked up in a trade in the offseason from Oakland, he seems to be going up and down in terms of his performances. He's got an over 4 ERA right now. Taijuan Walker is pitching very well at the moment, but we saw what happened to him last year, where in the first half of the season he was pitching to an all-star level, and in the second half of the season he just fell off a cliff. And today was supposed to be a scheduled start for Max Scherzer coming off the injured list, but unfortunately he decided he would rather just get a little bit more rehab starts in there. He didn't want to take a chance of going in there, too early and potentially re-injuring himself than maybe being out longer. So you still have that. When is Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom coming back to that starting rotation? I think in terms of the Mets, that is the biggest key going forward. If this Mets team is going to be going anywhere in the postseason, is what is the health status of Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer? Can these guys come back? Can these guys stay healthy? And can these guys pitch to the level that we know they can? That is the biggest key for the Mets. In terms of the Yankees, as I mentioned before with Pete Alonso and the NL, what can you say about Aaron Judge? Aaron Judge, if I'm the Yankees, pay this man after the season. He is having an unbelievable season this year.
They didn't agree on a deal yet? I thought they agreed on a deal.
Not yet. They're still negotiating, but this guy hit another 3-run bomb to win the game today against the Astros 6-3. Aaron Judge is having a fantastic season. He continues to be I think he's going to be the
MVP of
AL
baseball.
MVP right now. He's the MVP right now of baseball with how he's performing at the moment. He's hitting over 300. I mean, you're getting good solid contributions from Rizzo, who's having a good year.
It's a record-breaking season for this kid.
Torres is having a bounce back year. Hicks is actually giving them something on the offensive side. You're still getting nothing from Gallo. I mean, IFK, I think he's playing very well at shortstop. The Trevino at catcher has been. I mean, I'm sure Yankees fans would all be very happy right now having Trevino instead of Gary Sanchez. I know Nestor Cortez has slipped a little bit in his pitching recently, but he's actually been a pretty good pitcher for them this year. I think Severino's been solid. Cole has bounced back recently. The bullpen has been solid. I think the Yankees are the runaway. I think they're the best team right now in the American League. I know they had a little trouble with the Astros recently, but I still think the Yankees are the team to beat in the American League. I think the Mets are the team to beat in the National League. I know it's only late June. We're getting into July this coming week. But right now, why can't New York fans have a little bit of a dream when they go to sleep and think Subway Series like we had in 2000? Except, Mac, we want that revenge on these guys. We want that revenge on the New York Yankees for what they did to us in 2000. But it's right now hypothetical. It's hypothetical thinking, but I think that both the Yankees and the Mets have been playing terrific baseball so far this year. Hopefully they can continue to play that good of baseball going into the second half of the season and maybe make a couple of key additions to help them out when they get towards the playoffs. Mac, I'll hand it over to you, buddy.
Well, real quick, Yankees would be dumb to not pay the man. I mean, you got to pay your stars. Just do it. Stop, nickel and diming the guy, okay? Just do it.
I mean, it's not much more I can say after that. After that, Jeff, you covered it all, bro. But like you said, undoubtedly, man, Pete Alonso, just like you said, Aaron Judge is the MVP of the AL right now at this point of the season, and I agree, Pete Alonso is the NL MVP at this point of the season, man. Right now, both of those cats in New York City are doing big things right now with their bats, man. And as far as the Mets, man, getting healthy is going to be the key, man. I think a key player that just got healthy and came back for the Mets, man, is James McCann. It's going to help those pitchers out, man. That's going to help those pitchers. The pitchers that's been kind of slumping a little bit, it's going to definitely get in that regular, true, the number one catcher back in the lineup. It's going to definitely pay a little dividends for this pitching staff. Hopefully, you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm still not very confident in that bullpen. Something's got to give there, man. We got to make some kind of moves there to improve that bullpen for the second half of the season run, man. Because one thing as tough as it is, as good as the Mets have been playing, man, most of this season, they have been noticeably struggling against the better competition. So, which means when you get to September and October, man, that's what you're going to be playing. You're going to be playing all the best. So you got to gear up and get ready for them, man. Max Scherzer at this point, and Jacob DeGrom, I'm almost just down and just, you know what, let them chill till after the All-Star break at this point, because I almost don't even want to bring them back, get them going, and then you're going to have that little 4 or 5 day layoff again anyway for that All-Star stuff and all that. You might almost just let them just ride it all the way out until then, get them back in the lineup, because I think right now the Mets are still a good enough team to make do for these next couple of weeks. If they got to go a couple more weeks without these guys, just get them back in absolutely 100%. There's no need to rush them back in, man. The Mets are still I'm not so sure if I call them absolute best team in the NL, because, like I said, they have been struggling a bit against some of the better competition, but they're definitely up there. They're definitely going to be competing, and I think they definitely put themselves in a good position to take this division as long as they can stay the course the second half of this season.
And also, just like a quick point, the Braves suffered another bad injury today. I know they're already missing Ozzie Albies, but we just found out that Ronald Acuna fouled the ball off his foot. Not fractured, but who knows how long he could be out. So you're talking about two of the better hitters in that Braves lineup that will probably be missing some time. So that's like another thing that could be helping out the Mets is right now you look at it, the Braves are probably the biggest competition to the Mets for that division, and they're going to be missing two of their top hitters in that lineup. So it's only going to help out the Mets in terms of their chance to win that division going forwards. But, yeah, it's just a little quick update that Ronald Acuna banged up his foot, fouling ball off his foot. So you don't know how long his timetable is right now, but it's only going to help out the Mets having two of the best hitters on the Braves lineup right now out of that lineup deal with injuries.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We just lost Adam for a minute. Zion, if you want to segue to something else.
Yeah, well, we can segue. So that was the baseball talk. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Mac, for giving us some premium takes on that.
You're welcome.
So as you guys seen in the thumbnail, we got a bunch of movies. So let's just start. I know about my co-host, but I don't know about you guys watching. I'm a major movie buff. I absolutely love watching movies. So this is a sports show, a sports network, hardcore sports network. That being said, let's talk favorite sports movies. Maybe we don't need to hold it down as far as like give it all. I just want you guys to, and it's okay if we mention the same movie, but just get 3 in mind, and we're gonna share one right now, and we'll share the other 2 later on in the stream. So that being said, if whoever wants to begin, just share one of your favorite. It doesn't have to be like, even though you may think it's your favorite, it's obviously it's a movie, so you may like it, some others may not like it. So that being said,
I'm gonna go with a funny one. I'm gonna go with Sandlot. Okay, one of the classic baseball movies of all time. You got the PF Flyers, you got the old school Yankees, you got Hercules the dog, you got these kids who just love the game of baseball, and that's all they want to do all summer. Screw camp, screw whatever. Baseball was their life, kind of how we love football growing up, and it was just a great movie, summer movie. It was a great movie for me growing up, and I love, the part where my favorite part is when he loses the ball, and he's like, "Oh, it was signed by some woman." Babe Ruth, and all the kids are like, realizing who signed the ball, and then once he finally said, the great Bambino, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the same guy," and then it was great. So I wanted to just throw that out there, and I got 2 more on the docket.
I love that movie.
Well,
that is awesome.
It is Game 6 tonight, right? Game 6, Avalanche, Tampa Bay Lightning. And one of my favorite sports movies actually is a hockey movie, and it is The Miracle.
Oh, nice.
The movie, a story about the 1980 U.S. Olympic team that knocked off those Soviets. You know what I mean? Herb Brooks, the legendary hockey coach Herb Brooks.
You lived that moment, right?
Movie was just amazing. Movie was lit. You know what I mean? It's a great film, great story. None of those guys on that Olympic team turned out to be household names in the NHL and that. They were just a good young group of scrappy guys. They were coached very tough, and they got out there against what would look like an unstoppable force, and they got the job done up in Lake Placid, 1980 at the U.S. Olympics, at the Winter Olympics, man. And The Miracle was just a great depiction of that movie, of that story, man. Great film. I think it's not talked about nearly enough in sports movies conversations.
You lived that moment. Okay, it was a little before my time, and I think before everybody. No offense on this panel. So, kind of give us a recap of how that moment took place for you. I don't know if you watched the game, but I'm sure you probably were following it or following someone.
I mean, I was only 3 years old, brother.
You only 3?
So maybe you knew at the back of your head that you remember.
I was only 3 at the time, brother. I mean. So I don't have any memory of watching it live, man, but obviously seeing the many replays, the call, man, from Al Michaels, man, do you believe in miracles? Let's go, baby. I mean, it was just a great moment in sports, man. That's all. I can't actually say I was like sitting up watching that game at 3 years old.
Of course you were. Your parents didn't tell you were watching the game at 3 years old. They gave you a complimentary hockey puck. Oh, listen, I didn't know, man. You be bringing back some stories, Mac. When we sitting here like, I don't know, I wasn't around for that one, so I don't know if you were. So my bad, folks. I thought he was around for that, but yeah, go watch the take yourself. It was one of those great moments. I'll stop talking now.
Well, I'm just going to, you know what? Since Mac brought up one hockey movie, I'm going to bring up another that probably everybody remembers if you're a kid of the 90s. Quack! Quack,
Oh.
quack. Go
Which one, though?
Ducks! You all remember the Mighty Ducks. It doesn't matter, Mighty Ducks. 1, 2, 3, a bunch of ragtag kids.
Now they have a
no idea
series.
how to play hockey.
Yeah, what about the series on Disney Plus?
It
No, I'm
sucks.
talking about the original.
Yeah, I know.
The series on Disney Plus. Talking about the
Never watched
original
it.
Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, I know.
With about like Gordon Bombay
It's strong.
taking a bunch of ragtag kids,
Ducks
have no idea.
fly together.
Renegades have no undisciplined. Put this team together.
That
Taught
was
them
a
how
great
to
one.
skate. Taught them how to be a team. Pretty much the team that was going against the odds. And they were able to go up against the evil Hawks. Obviously, the first one, you know, the backstory of when Gordon Bombay was a kid, and he was the one that was being coached by eventually the team he played in the finals. So I was trying to learn the triple deke, and he missed that key shot at the end, hit the post. And obviously, they lost the game when he was a kid, and he was just trying to be able to, you know, he was becoming a lawyer, didn't really care about kids, didn't care about all this stuff.
He missed the NHL because of a knee injury, and I think that thing kind of. I think he.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I think he just lingered. It lingered him. You know, great film, Jeff. Great film.
Yeah, and he was able to manage these kids.
Third one's kind of wacky though.
The Flying V, and able to teach young Charlie the triple deke to get the big game-winning goal on the first one to win the championship for the junior league hockey team. So,
when do they get the new unis?
Mighty Ducks, baby. That's one of the childhood favorites. If you're a kid of the '90s.
And they named the hockey team used that logo for a while. You know, before they got bought out or moved cities, they used that logo for a long time. So I kind of missed that logo. They kind of they do a throwback sometimes with that logo, a little redesign, but I thought it was the best logo the Ducks have ever had.
Absolutely, well, easily one of the best. In
sports, not just
absolutely
in sports. I thought it was one of the best, well put together uniforms.
Zion, what about you? What movie are you bringing back?
Yes, you guys probably have this in mind. It was probably going to be one of you guys' third or second choice. You guys can go ahead and repeat. It's all good. I'm gonna mention The Blind Side.
Angels in the Outfield. Wow, that's a good one.
I just think The Blind Side is a really good movie. It covers, I believe his name was Michael Orth. He got drafted by the Ravens. Just the story behind that movie. It is based off of his life, a true story. So the story in Sandra Bullock's as the adopted mother. That being said, just overall message, just the overall feeling, just it's a masterpiece in my mind, and I'm gonna mention The Blind Side. Let's get it.
There's a lot in the chat. A lot of people in the chat are responding to this movie. I think they've taken some of our ideas, so I'm not going to. I might use some of these later on. But heck of a job, chat. Lighten it up with the movies. This is a great topic. Zion, great stuff.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for all your suggestions thrown in the chat. A lot of good, great sports movies. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for holding us down. I mean, like, if it wasn't for you guys, we'll still be doing this, but it ain't fun if you guys are not here chatting along, mentioning movies in the comments. It makes the show 100% better, and that's facts, and it is what it is. That being said, thank you guys so much for being here. As we move on to, let's talk about, we did a couple of topics, and let's just move back into our NFC rankings. Let's talk about the NFC South this time. Who wants to begin?
The NFC South.
I'll start this one. The NFC South, I still think, like, similar to the NFC North, until somebody can go in there and beat that Tampa Bay Bucs team and Tom Brady and his boys, I am picking the Tampa Bay Bucs to win that division again. I still think they got a very solid team. I know Gronkowski recently retired. Sue's not there anymore. Still got Devin White. Still got Levante David.
We'll talk about the draft in a bit, Naveer.
I think they got Cade Otton, who's one of the best young tight end prospects coming in there. You still got Fournette. You still got Godwin, who's he's coming off an injury, but when Godwin's healthy, he's a very good receiver. Mike Evans, future Hall of Famer with what he's been doing. I mean, you still got – they brought in Russell Gage as a slot receiver. I think their defense is still good. They brought back Carlton Davis at the cornerback spot. They got Antoine Winfield Jr. in the secondary. I still think that Tampa Bay – is holding down this division. In terms of the second place team, I think it's going to be I think the New Orleans Saints could be a team that could surprise. It all depends on what you're getting from Jameis Winston. what are you getting from Jameis Winston this year coming off a torn ACL? Because they upgraded that wide receiver position by adding a speedster like Chris Olave and also a slot receiver like Jarvis Landry to go if he comes back, Michael Thomas. Obviously, one of the biggest questions, they're probably going to be losing Alvin Kamara for the beginning of the season because he's going to most likely be suspended after what happened, an incident over the offseason last year. So you're probably going to be a little shorthanded at the running back position. But, I mean, is the offensive line still going to be solid? You lost Armstead, who went to the Dolphins, but they have Penning in there to take over at left tackle. You still got Ramczyk coming back healthy. You got McCoy. You got Cesar Ruiz in the center of that offensive line. I think the defense, as long as you got Cam Jordan, Devontae Davis in the middle, they still got Lattimore in the secondary. I think their team is going to be a very boom or bust roster going into this season. They can either be a 7, 8, 9, 10 win team, or they can be a 4, 5, 6 win team, depending on what happens with Jameis Winston. I think he's such a wild card this year. Are you going to get good Jameis, or are you going to get bad Jameis? I mean, the rest of the division, I don't like the rest of the division at all. I mean, I just think it's going to be. I honestly just drew a blank of the other two teams in that division. I literally
Carolina and Atlanta.
I don't like Carolina at all, and I think Atlanta is going to be trash. Atlanta is another one of those teams. Thank you, Mac. That's going to be in the competition for the first pick in the draft. I think they got nothing on that team. What does Atlanta have on that team?
Well, this is why we call it premium. You got to go next.
I would love to go next.
I'm going to shake things up right now because this is really some premium take shit right here. Man,
I 100%. I 85%. You want to go next?
I like this New Orleans Saints team this year, man. I think.
Ooh, they're beating Tampa Bay, Mac. Are they beating Tampa Bay?
I think everybody's lunching on this team, man. I think this team is going to come out, man. They're going to still be a pretty high-powered offense. I think they still got a pretty damn solid defense.
They were 5-1.
And if they stay healthy, you know what I mean, this team is going to be a force to be reckoned with down in the NFC South. And I think they sneak out the division. I think they do.
Wow.
I think that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it. Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm putting my chest out.
Wow. He's blowing his chest out. So listen, I do a show.
Go fast, Adam.
I think the New Orleans Saints got what it takes this year. I mean, Tampa Bay is going to be right on their heels. I think both of these teams will be in the playoffs. And I do kind of agree. I like Carolina a little better than Atlanta, so I give them that little third place nod, even though it's not going to mean much. And then we'll throw Atlanta down there in the basement, man, because I have no idea what that team is.
You go ahead, Adam.
I don't know who's starting at quarterback for this team, for real. I don't know anything about this team.
Listen, I don't mean to cut Zion off. He was very excited.
You're good.
You done, man?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good, y'all.
Yeah. Are you, Adam?
Listen, so first, Mac, that is what we call a premium take. Okay, that is blowing the roof off this place. You better go put a few shekels down on that team winning the division, because for me, and I'm not condoning gambling at people here, but hey, listen, if that happens and Mac puts some money down, boy, you gonna be buying us some dinner at the buffet line, boy, because I don't know if Tampa Bay is gonna, lie down to New Orleans. Now, I do believe New Orleans is going to be a good team. I think they'll be a fighting for that second wild card spot or third wild card spot, depending on what you're looking at. I think they were 5-1 coming out the gate with Jameis Winston. Like that, people need to not sleep on that, yo. The only loss they had was to the Giants coming out the gate.
They were in the running until he got hurt last year.
Right.
He was very competitive.
He was 14-1. He was 14-1. 14 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Right. He was playing his best football of ever. And I believe it's because he plays in the dome, plays in an offensive-friendly system, and he's got his eyes checked down. Because remember, people didn't realize that he was seeing double on the field. People don't realize that in Tampa Bay. He had to have laser eye surgery. So, Jameis is, I think, if he played the full season, we're talking about New Orleans in the playoffs.
That's still good numbers. 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Oh, yeah.
The defense was playing great too.
Right, but if he stays healthy, I think they're in the playoffs. I don't think they're struggling the way they struggled with Simeon and Tyson Hill, whoever that guy is. My guy, he's like the new Cordell Stewart. Right, I mean, the guy plays every position. But I think Mac, I like where your head's at. I'm not gonna go that bold, but I respect that opinion because that is bold. That'll make your hair gray. I love it though. I love it. This is why I love hanging with back in these guys because this is what you get, man. Look at this. New Orleans friggin' Saints. I hope they're reading this material. I got some stuff in the NFCs we'll get to in a little bit. I'm gonna pop off out the mouth. But going down the NFC South side, I like Atlanta. I like Atlanta number 3. And hear me out, people. I know you people looking at me cross-eyed right now because you're like, oh, Carolina's a fucking dumpster fire.
Yes,
dumpster fire.
Sir.
They got fucking Matt Rule doesn't know where he's going. Fucking Macadone is on their team, okay? He doesn't know what the hell he's doing, right? They have Sam Darnold and Matt Corral. Who do you think is starting? I'm going to put my money on Matt Corral because I've seen enough of Sam Darnold to know the boy stinks. Okay, he stinks. The only reason he'd be starting week 1 is because they friggin' went out and traded for his ass. They need to justify that trade. But if I'm Matt Rule, I have given him the shortest of short leashes. You throw your first interception, game 1 interception, you're out the game. I don't care if we're up 14-0. That's how much I am so livid with these booty ass quarterbacks that keep getting recycled and recycled and recycled. Now, Atlanta, on the other hand, I like their coach. I like what he did last year. They have put some good pieces together. They got a couple receivers in the house now. Desmond Ridder, I do like. They have Marcus Mariota as their quarterback who actually played in the system that did well for him in Tennessee with the coach that he had now, right? So, for me, that familiarity and having a competent coach. I mean, Carolina has Sam freaking Darnold and Matt Corral. You want me to put my money on those bums?
I know they didn't do anything yet, and he's still a rookie, but you got Drake London and Kyle Pitts on the same team. Like, that's going to hit eventually. Now, only thing concerns about Atlanta is, unless you continue, is the defense.
Right. Mac. First off, who the hell cares? You can do a running back by committee. That's one. Second off, who in the hell do you think is better, Marcus Mariota or Sam Darnold? I'll wait.
I mean,
they're both trash, but don't worry. Who's better? Don't worry. I'll wait. Because, like, the only problem with Mariota is he gets injured, right? Like, that's like his thing. It's like, hey, man, you're good for 3 games. You're having a great streak. You're throwing for 400 yards. Injury.
And I don't want to sound biased because I am from the island. I'm from Oahu. I don't want to sound biased here. Shout out to Mariota. But I think a lot of it is he had a Super Bowl winning, contending team. And nothing happened from it. And I think
no. He got injured. He got injured.
And he is injured. And that's absolutely facts on that. But I think that stamped a big, like, nope on his career.
No. Listen, you look at Marcus Mariota's career, the one thing that him and Daniel Jones have consistent, they miss games, right? The reason they brought in Ryan Tannehill was because he missed games and they wanted a competent backup with this team, and they were humming with the team. Mariota gets injured, Tannehill goes out there, they go to the playoffs. That's all she wrote. He goes to Las Vegas, hangs out behind Derek Carr, learning the games from John Gruden. Doesn't have to do much, doing well when he came into those games. So well, in fact, they paid him well. But there was a chance that he was going to be the starter in the Raiders because of the struggles of Derek Carr, who, by the way, had a bounce-back season. So now he goes back to a familiar coach from the Titans. I think it's Arthur Smith is his name, to a guy who ran the offense. He had his best offensive season under this guy. And the weapons you mentioned, he's only keeping the seat warm for Desmond Ridder, who's a carbon copy of Mariota. Like, he does exactly the same things.
Well, fellas, since we're on this division, you want to get to this question Nikki had up in the chat. Do you think Thomas, meaning Michael Thomas, the wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints, will return to prime Thomas after missing 2 seasons? How do you guys feel about Michael Thomas?
I don't even know if he's ready yet. I mean, there's still rumors that he might not even still be completely back from that injury. I mean, who knows what you're going to get from this guy? We all know the talent he possesses. He's that perfect guy over the middle. He's one of the best receivers when he's healthy, but it's been 2 years since this guy suited up on the NFL field. So I really can't say. I mean, what is Michael Thomas at this point in 2022? What are the Saints going to get from him? That's the biggest question. I think he could still be a good receiver. Do I think he's going to be the Michael Thomas of old? I don't think so. I just don't think he's going to have that same – explosiveness in and out of his breaks. I just think that ankle injury really has done something to him. I just don't think he's going to be that same guy. I think he's still going to be good, but just not the same player he was when he was healthy in 2019.
it also comes down to his mental. I mean, like
That's
as
true.
much physical it is, it's also his mental. I know Jeff knows this, but he had a premium take right there, and I'm just gonna add on to it. It comes down to his mental. I mean, like us being Giants fans, we've seen Barkley's mental when he came back. Now, do I think that's a topic for another day? Getting back to Michael Thomas, I absolutely love Michael Thomas. You know, he was regarded as one of the best receiver, if not the best receiver, when he had his breakout seasons a couple years back. But that being said, yes, 2 years coming off of a major injury, it comes down to mental as well. So can he maybe get back? We've seen it before. We've seen players come back and have big seasons. Does he have the talent to get back? I would say absolutely. But exactly what Jeff said is just like it comes down to how does his body react and how does his mental it comes down to a lot of mental too. I'm just gonna add that.
Well, I think Michael Thomas, man, like you said, you're hitting the nail on the head with the mental thing, man. I think 2 years is a long time for anybody to be out and miss time, especially in the sport of football and in the NFL, man.
And then come back and play football at the highest level.
But Michael
Exactly.
Thomas is one thing he's got going for him is he's on a pretty damn good football team. He's not going to have to rush back in and be the man necessarily. He can work his way up back in slowly, get and build himself back up. I mean, yeah, Jameis Winston, it could be hot and cold. You never know what you're going to get from him.
He's got two other guys there too that can help him out with Olave and Landry.
Yeah, but you got a couple other decent receivers, and you still have an absolute stud in that backfield, and Alvin Kamara to help hold this offense down. So he can just kind of build himself back up. Doesn't need to rush back in and be 2019 or 2019 Michael Thomas. Why expect you to come back in with numbers like that right away from the door? But you can take your time, work your way back in, and get reacclimated to things because 2 years off is a long time. I think when you put up numbers like that, I mean, you're the real thing. You prove that you are the real thing. It's just a matter of now getting your feet wet again, getting your feet back up underneath you, man. So I think Michael Thomas can work his way back up to that elite status.
I don't think that's a bad take. I think having Juju Smith-Schuster is interesting because Michael Thomas arguably the best slot receiver in the NFL. And it's interesting because he's almost kind of revolutionized the slot position because normally they didn't put big guys in there, right? That was something you did in a mismatch here and there, but mostly it was the Wes Welkers of the world, the little, Steve Smiths of the world, all those guys that we know throughout history. So when this guy comes in and Peyton's like, yo, I'm going to put you on the slot, which gives him more open space to work with. He's more routes. The cornerbacks are off him and probably more diminutive, right? The mostly smaller guys. This gave him advantage. And when you play in the slot as a receiver, advantage you, especially if you're that big. So if Michael Thomas, and I'm not sorry, I didn't do my education on his injury. And maybe you guys on the panel can enlighten me, but I think receiver for me is different than any other position because I don't think you necessarily need – how should I put this? I think the muscle memory will come back quickly for him. I don't think he's going to have the 1,500 yards or 12 touchdowns or anything like that. But I could easily see him rounding into form and getting 800, 900 yards, being that slot guy that we know. Right, and really helping out the young quarterbacks, Mariota and or Ritter going forward. I'm not Ritter, excuse me, Winston going forward. And I think having Juju Smith-Schuster, having a couple of Chris Olave, is going to help open up a lot of things.
You mean Jarvis Landry?
Yes. Sorry, I keep saying
that's all right.
Jarvis Landry. I keep saying Juju. Sorry. Anyways, having Jarvis Landry and having Chris Olave allows them to do so much more. One, he doesn't have to come back as fast. Hopefully he doesn't end up on the pup list, but he doesn't have to come back as fast. Two, while he's rounding into form, guys are going to have to take advantage of Olave's speed and Landry on the other side, right? Who played Jarvis Landry, who played with Cleveland. So Jarvis Landry is your insurance policy, but he can be moved around as well. So I think he's going to be a good receiver. I don't think he's going to be 1,500 yards, but he'll be solid.
I agree. I think he'll be a good receiver. I think he had an ankle injury that took him a couple of years off, and he was never known as a guy that's going to win with speed, quickness, or anything like that. He was just a big-bodied receiver, knew how to run good routes. So, I mean, he doesn't have to be, like you guys mentioned before, he doesn't have to be that stud number one receiver like he was before. And he is approaching, I believe, the age of 30. So he just has to be that solid, big possession receiver either on the outside, maybe move him or Landry. You can alternate them throughout the slot and the outside, and just, make those tough catches over the middle, use his big body to get the contested catches as well. So he can give you about 800, 900 yards, and that's good enough.
I mean, let's even lower it to 750 if it takes some time. But I think he'll be a contributor at some point if he becomes healthy, because I just think his talent is too good, and guys still play well into their 30s. I hate this narrative that you get washed up at certain positions and guys do well. Jerry Rice played till he was 42. Okay, at a position where guys don't even last till they're 28, and he played till 42. So there's guys that have done it. Chris Carter played damn near forever. Andre Reed was around. Eric Moulds. I don't know if you know who that guy.
Our boy Amani Toomer in the 2007 playoffs was having a great playoff at 34, 35 years old.
Exactly. I mean, there's been players who do well into their 30s, right? Especially at the skill position. So for me, let's just see how it is. Plus, he plays in a dome. He doesn't got to worry about weather. He doesn't got to worry about all that stuff that goes on with the other things. And again, like I said, they're not going to play him the same way with all those guys. Jarvis Landry changes their offense. Right? Chris Olave changes their offense. Defenses aren't going to play them the same way. Michael Thomas can get touches, and he won't have to worry about guys pressing him or all that stuff. He might be able to get touches, and guys are a few yards off just because they're so worried about everything else that they can't be bump and run,
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Like Levance had a question in the chat real quick. You want to address this? Who wins more games this upcoming season, Houston or Jacksonville Jaguars?
Watch our previous podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm going to go with Jacksonville.
Houston.
I'm going to go with Jacksonville. I think they have a better roster. Even though Houston has a legit defense, I think Jacksonville has a pretty good defense as well.
I think Jacksonville's just a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
I love Houston's defense. I think Houston's defense is going to be good.
A well-coached
football team.
There'll be a well-coached football team this year. It won't be that same shit show from a season ago with
I think both teams are going to be decently coached. I'm not saying Lovie Smith is better than Doug Peterson by any means, but even though they've both been to a Super Bowl, one's won one. But the point is that they're now going to be organized not like a dysfunctional family. They got rid of the dysfunction in Deshaun Watson. He is now officially gone. They've staked their claim now to their quarterback, who they hope is going to be good, Davis Mills. They actually got a competent coach in Lovie Smith and not a retread in that guy who got the raw deal anyways, but Kunle or whatever his name was, he got the raw deal down there. But they have a guy who has a little bit more pelt. I know Coach in the chat will go, Lovie Smith, blah, blah, blah. He didn't do anything in Illinois. Yeah, it's Illinois. I couldn't do anything in Illinois.
But here's the thing. Jacksonville got Goldilocks, and Goldilocks actually has a coach.
All right. Well, I'm not saying.
Same.
It's also short Davis Mills either.
I'm just saying, yeah. Davis Mills actually technically had a better season statistically than Trevor Lawrence, and
Trevor Lawrence had one of the worst seasons of all time under Urban Meyer. But that being said, I'm just saying, like, now that he actually has a coach and he has some young
he didn't have one of the worst seasons. He just had an up and down season. I've seen the quarterbacks have bad seasons. I don't disagree with you. I think Trevor Lawrence is good. I'm just thinking Houston right now, just out of the blue,
that's fair enough.
It wasn't out of a lot of games. They didn't lose games last year because they were a bad offense. They lost games last year because their defense couldn't hold anybody. Same story, different day.
That's why Houston did a lot of reinforcements on that defense in the draft this past year, getting a lot of good young talent to help out that Lovie Smith defense. And what he's going to – like when Peterson could bring that offense and to Trevor Lawrence, Lovie Smith could bring to those young players in the Houston defense. So it can go either way.
But then it can go either way, and like both teams are about equal if you think about it.
I'm going to say they're going to end up with the same record.
Right? Jacksonville has a pretty fire young defense as well. Real fast before we move on, I see max points about the Saints, but I'll probably still have Tampa Bay beating them out. I got Tampa since making the wild card weekend, and then followed by Atlanta due to the points that Adam makes. I agree with it, and then followed by I don't know what Carolina's doing. That being
Carolina knows what Carolina's doing.
That being said, guys, I know there's a bunch of topics. I know we're coming up soon on free agency. I felt like the season just ended, and NBA, it seems to go year round now. That being said, we just had the draft. We just had. If you guys want to talk about, let's move into NBA. If you guys want to talk about the NBA draft, you guys want to talk about the free agents, rumors are starting to pop around, or where some people might want to go. Some people may be locked under contract. You guys want to talk about your own personal team? You guys have the mic, and let's just talk some NBA.
What can I say
real
about
fast, Jeff? I'm gonna let you hold on a little bit longer. I have one question. I'm not gonna sit here. I'm not gonna act like I know everything. All right, but I don't really know anybody besides like the number 2 player that got picked because I don't really follow college ball. But I know there is a player by the name of he was a high player. He was a prospect. He probably got ranked as high as number 2 in the draft, but he got drafted in the second round. All because I don't know what it is because, but there's rumors saying that maybe he chose to join the G League, play for Team Unite, and then on Team Unite he didn't really have too much great numbers. So trying to see what player that is. I know he got picked by the San Francisco why am I sliding? The Kings. He got picked by the Kings, Sacramento Kings. Is it Jaden Horty? I believe his name is.
yes,
Yeah. So
yes.
do you guys want to talk? Can you guys cover that, and then let's move into whatever you want to talk about? Do you think my question I'm posing to you guys is? Do you think that I love the G League because players are getting paid? Also, they're going to be getting paid in college now too, but it gives them a more of a pro level kind of approach to basketball rather than having the only approach is to go play for a college. But it just seems like whether if you're from this country, I mean, like if you're from other countries, you can just get to a international team and then elect for the draft. But if you're in this country, do you guys feel like the G League are now showing that these players that is on the NCAA, they get more TV time per se? So maybe do you guys think that hurts players if they join the G League? I'll let you guys take it.
No, I don't. I mean,
Not at
perfect
all.
example. Look at a guy like Jordan Poole for Golden State. Played in the G League for a lot of the season. Came right over to the Golden State Warriors. What did he end up doing? Just be one of the best 6 men in the
That's a good
NBA.
point.
I think the G League helps out a lot. Look at the Nets had a couple of players on their G League team for a good amount of the season. I mean, Deron Sharp was on the G League. David Duke Jr. was on there. Kessler Edwards, who became a part of the
Let me
rotation, was
rephrase
part of the
the
G
question
League.
a little bit. I'm talking about if you have collegiate offers, Gonzaga, Xavier, Syracuse. I don't know the top basketball programs nowadays. I don't follow the sport, but just to name a few, or you have an opportunity to join the G League. Do you think that hurts the player? And you can continue.
I think it's a good opportunity. If someone told me at 18 years old, I can go get paid to play basketball, I'm probably going to go do that. College is no guarantee, right? There's no guarantee, and the NBA, unlike many other sports, if you're not in the top 10, you're like everybody else. Okay, you're just like everybody else because there's unlike the NFL draft where the first round is the first round for a reason. You can get anybody from pick 1 to 32. The NBA is a little different. It's really top heavy in its talent and who goes where. Now, I'm not saying haven't been picks that have done well. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm just saying is for me to avoid that, I can get with an NBA club quickly, then do it, especially since if you're not a great basketball player and you don't know if you're going to make your team, why not join the G League? You know what I'm saying? Like Jordan Poole, go get your money, develop. Otherwise, you might be an undrafted free agent and you don't make the ball club, right? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I think to get into your profession early is better than waiting.
I'm sorry, Jeff. I didn't mean to cut you off. If you want to
How I
continue
feel
before
about the
Matt.
G League. Oh, go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
No, Matt, go ahead first. Go ahead
I
first.
was gonna say just the G League to me, honestly. I mean, it called me cynical, but I just feel like it's that league that they put in there. So for these kids that back past, when guys could come right out of high school and go right into the draft, it's not an option anymore. You got to be at least 1 year removed from high school, which means you got to at least go to school for a year. That G League is for a lot of these guys that ain't interested in being students no more. they would probably would have been teetering with the idea of going straight from high school into the draft, and that's not an option. So they go play in the G League for a year, get paid, and then follow suit. As we had we had like what was it, like 2 lottery picks from the G League, right? This like, as a matter of fact, in the top 5 or 6 picks, as a matter of fact, I believe, 2 G League guys. So that's just my take. That's how I feel about the G League personally. I think it's that thing the league put in place for guys like that, because everybody doesn't want to go live that college dream. Some guys want to just go get that money.
Yeah, but I mean,
That's
I think that's a dumb rule, anyways. The 1-year college thing, right? I mean, it's more because the colleges were losing out on these great prospects as opposed to having flops in the NBA. Now, do I agree that an 18-year-old shouldn't probably be in the NBA? Probably not. But let's be honest, the rule is kind of dumb. Oh, you got to wait 1 year. Do you think they're really getting academic training in that 1 year? Come on. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, you're having an oral exam. Okay, you got a C. Just get a C. Okay, great. They're pushing them along to then say, oh, you're going to the NBA. Why? To raise their program up to look good? Come on.
And I'd like to say something real fast, and then Jeff, you can hold on to the mic for a bit. I absolutely agree with you guys, and I just think that there was a way this whole question got posed because the homie fell into the second round after being like one of the top prospects coming out a couple years ago, 1 year ago. That being said, I just think that it would be awesome if the NBA kind of highlighted the G League a little bit more and I know it's kind of hard with primetime TV and the slots, but at least put it on some primetime, not maybe primetime spots, but maybe some primetime channels and get more attention on it. Because
like they do at the Summer League.
Yeah, like they do at the Summer League, because I kind of feel like, when you go from the second ranking player and you fall all the way to the second round, and I get it, you didn't really play that good in the G League. I just don't, I don't. Is it because you wasn't on TV and people just forgot how good you were, or is it because you just didn't have a really good season in the G League and now you're getting drafted in the second round? You know what I'm saying? Hopefully it doesn't matter where you get drafted. Quote Tom Brady. So that being said, like, different sport. But you get the point, like Jeff.
One problem with the NBA as far as the draft thing is, when you're a first round pick in the NBA, you're guaranteed a contract.
That's the money, right?
When you're a second round pick, you got to still earn your spot on the team.
You go from $9 million 1 year to barely $9 million. But what being ranked like where he got picked? If you're lucky, if you're making 3.5 a year,
No, yeah, absolutely. To answer Levance's question right here, would you trade Julius Randle for De'Aaron Fox? And from a Knicks fan, absolutely. Would the Kings be nuts enough to do that? They'd probably be asking for Julius Randle and 2-3 first-round picks for a guy like De'Aaron Fox, who is one of the better young point guards in the league. No way is that ever happening straight up. As far as the offseason, this is the topic that makes me the most angry because of all the noise being thrown out there.
Before we go there, can we answer Coach's question real quick? He says, do fans care about the G League? And I don't think it's they're obsessed with the G League, but if you're a fan of a diehard team, you might know a few players who come up and down. Like, I'm sure some guys on the AAA squad for the Mets. You know what I mean? You're a Met fan. You may not know everybody on that AAA squad, but some players that you've heard, coming around. So for the G League, I do think the fans, if you're diehards, are really invested, know players in the G League. Sorry, Jeff.
No, it's okay. I read one of Nikki's comments earlier that she says, just like myself and Adam, she's a Nets fan that's been going to the Izod Center. She's been watching the Nets that long in New Jersey.
Oh my God! Sorry, Nikki.
What can you say right now about the Nets?
Sorry, Nikki.
The team right now that all you hear in the news is about Kyrie Irving is leaving. Kyrie Irving is going here. Kyrie Irving and the Nets are having an impasse right now with contract talks, listing the Lakers, the Clippers, the Sixers, the Knicks, all these other teams that Kyrie Irving might want to do a sign and trade for. Joe Tsai and Sean Marks just don't want to deal with Kyrie Irving. They don't want to give him a long-term deal. We should be talking about right now with the Brooklyn Nets what pieces we can add to this team going into the 2022-2023 season. Instead, we're talking about our 2 stars potentially walking off this team this year, a la what happened about 5-10 years ago when we had the Billy King mess, when we traded all our first-round picks and young talent for a broken-down Paul Pierce, Jason Terry, and Kevin Garnett,
Sorry to
and we
laugh,
were pretty
Jeff.
much in NBA purgatory for years. And it took us all this time until we finally got Sean Marks, thankfully, that put this team, got some good young talent in there, like a Jared Allen, like a Spencer Dinwiddie, like a Karis LeVert, even a guy like D'Angelo Russell, who was struggling in LA. They made a trade for him. He actually was showing something, a nice fun team that we could root for. But oh no, we actually had a team that had two superstars like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving wanted to come play with. I was happy watching Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving playing with this young group core of players together, hoping to see what they can do. Unfortunately, they couldn't be able to play together in 2020 because of the fact that KD was still nursing that Achilles injury and Kyrie Irving got injured at the end of the season, so we had to watch a bunch of the young players. But no, we had to get greedy. We had to go out there and trade for a guy like James Harden, who has been known as a failure everywhere
And then
he's
Ben
gone,
Simmons.
a playoff disaster. You traded all these first-round picks and all your young core players for a James Harden that in his first season that he played with the Nets couldn't even last through the series against the Bucks. He gets hurt immediately, hamstring injury. The Nets get bounced against the Bucks, couldn't even make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then this year, you have the Kyrie Irving fiasco going on with the vaccine stuff. KD gets hurting his MCL. He missed a bunch of games. You have James Harden, the stink that's been going on. He eventually gets traded. Boy, that was a good trade you made. You traded away all that young talent for a guy like James Harden who didn't even last 2 years with this team.
You trade one bust for another bust.
And you trade for Ben Simmons, who this guy, we don't even know where he is mentally. He hasn't played in a while. We saw what happened with him. He says he's going to be coming back. The Ben Simmons watch.
You want to hear a basketball joke?
What's
Ben
that?
Simmons. Ben Simmons.
I knew he was going to say that. I just knew it. That's why I laughed, Harry.
It's a part of the joke of the
my
Nets. The Nets are the laughing stock right now. It's ridiculous what this basketball team is doing. They can do it again. They can let two of the best NBA players in the past 10, 15 years walk out the door. Kyrie Irving might be gone. Kevin Durant's probably going to ask for a trade if Irving's not here. Then it's going to be right back to what the Nets were before. A laughing stock. Nobody gives a damn about basketball team. I know the Knicks fans, they don't even know what the hell is going on with their team.
Yeah, but they have 11 draft picks.
They have a lot of draft picks, exactly. They're so ass backwards right now with what they have going on. The Nets are becoming the laughing stock of the NBA because who the hell knows what is going on with this organization right now. The best and most sane thing you can do is come to some type of resolution, but not an outrageous contract, work some type of resolution out with Kyrie Irving, bring him back, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. If you get anything out of Ben Simmons, anywhere remotely of what this kid was, because he actually is a decent player when he's mentally all there. But if you can get anything out of those three and you just add to the core of that team, the Nets could still be a team that goes for a championship here. But I swear, if the Nets find a way to screw this up again and once again screw up, they're the only basketball team that can potentially screw up two big threes. Two. Every other team that put together a big three won at least one championship. The Nets can't even get to the friggin' Eastern Conference Finals at all. They can't even do that.
Well,
This is a joke.
There's
How
a
you feel
curse.
about Olivia's comment up here about this KD might lead the Nets and come to the Celtics? I mean, I've heard
Oh,
no
God.
such rumors.
I know. I saw that comment before. I almost wanted to fall out of my seat if that's the case. If that ever happens and he goes to the hated Celtics of all people, I mean, he's probably thinking, you know what? They kicked our ass this past season in the playoffs. Why don't I try to go join them up? They got two good young players.
Exactly.
Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They have some other good young players in Grant Williams, Robert Williams. They got Peyton Pritchard. You still got Marcus Smart, who's a pain in the ass to deal with. Al Horford. Felt like he found the fountain of youth. He's probably like, you know what? I don't want to deal with this mess right now in Brooklyn. If Kyrie Irving's walking out the door, I don't want to deal with a head case like Ben Simmons. I'm just going to walk out the door, go to a team that's going to be NBA championship material. Get the hell out of
It's all because of Steve Nash.
This team, I mean, Adam can attest to, this team has given nothing but headaches, heartbreaks, nightmare scenarios over the years. It doesn't matter what this team is. I'm dreaming of when this team in 2000, 2001 was a team that was put together pretty much homegrown, and you had Jason Kidd being that one piece to put this team over the edge. It's just a shame we had to go against that juggernaut Laker team with Shaq and Kobe and Ori and Fox.
Listen.
Well, look,
They were.
Nimmer wanted Ben Simmons on the Knicks. So what do the Knicks got to send y'all way to get Ben Simmons off y'all hands?
You guys
all 11 first-round picks. You know what I mean? I mean, not really. You could send me a bag of balls and I'll give you him. I'll give you Ben Simmons. Hell, not even. I will give you a medium soda. The medium soda that John Mara gave to me last season for showing up to the football game. I will ask that in return for Ben Simmons.
Adam, let him have it. Let this team have it, because I know you probably feel the same way about this organization right now.
I'll let you go, but I'm just here to add a little bit of spice. I mean, like Kyrie Irving, if you're leaving South Beach, it's probably not going to happen. But South Beach.
Quiet, Zion. Don't try to rub it in even more. Don't rub that wound. You're rubbing the wound right now.
First off, Kyrie Irving, don't go to that team. They don't win. They haven't won championships since LeBron. Okay, so they're not gonna win one right now. Okay, they're wannabes. Okay, yeah. Eric Spoelstra's a good coach. Okay, great job. You're constantly in the play.
He's one of the best coaches.
Okay. It does. Listen. Let me just go on this Nets real quick.
Continue. I'm sorry.
This is what sucks about the Nets, because every year this happens to their superstars. It's like the only team in the NBA. They'll acquire players, they'll dress up nice, and then boom. Bupkis, right? They brought in Jason Kidd. They didn't even do that many trades. They brought him in. Rod Thorne, executive of the year when he brought in Jason Kidd, right? Where's Rod Thorne now? Find whoever Rod Thorne. If he's dead, hopefully he's not. Find his brain, extract the memories, and build the team that way. Because when I was growing up, Rod Thorne was bold, knew how to make a basketball team, and made the Nets relevant. This time, I feel like they're trying to buy it. It's like insta pasta. You just add a little water and we got a championship. That's not how it works in sports. And in the NBA, because of these big threes that have been winning, they just think, put things together and it'll just work out, especially in the Eastern Conference, which is a weaker conference than the Western Conference. And so here we are, the Nets. I don't know if this is more negotiation ploys, because they want more money. But, it's kind of hard leg to stand on for both guys when you underperformed in the playoffs. And now you expect me to say, hey, turn around and be like, hey, give me more money, right? Like KD, sometimes the NBA is funny because no one ever honors their agreements in the NBA. The NFL is more cutthroat because they can just cut your ass like, we're done with you. Bye. You don't get any money. But in the NBA, it's like, you could be on 3 different teams in 3 different minutes. I've seen trades where guys go to one team and then they get swapped to another team because they're a salary cap dump. He went from Minnesota to New Jersey to New York and then you have like 7,000 draft picks swapped and you're like, what the hell just happened? And then that's what happens in the NBA. So for me, I'm like, what? If KD wants to walk, fine, just walk. Personally, I think it's the coach. I don't think they should have got rid of Atkins.
I agree. I think should have never been gotten. They should have never let him go.
I think they went with a star. I think they went with a star power, and because they saw what Jason Kidd did, they went with Steve Nash. And I think Steve Nash doesn't have the best. Like, look at Atkinson; he was in the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
I think he won a championship with that. I think he was on the Golden State Warriors sidelines, if I'm not mistaken.
He was. He actually had an opportunity. Sorry to interrupt, Adam, but he actually had an opportunity to become a head coach. He actually rescinded it to stay with that Golden State Warriors team and be on that coaching staff.
And look, now he's a champion, which will always be written in stone. Atkins will always be a part of that team for lore. And not to mention, now he's going to get whatever job he wants, and he knows how to build a championship squad. And you got rid of him for a guy in Steve Nash who had no head coaching experience, who never won a championship, let alone, a coach as a coach, and now you want to bring him in. And then the way he coaches, Marcus Aldridge is probably the biggest coaching blunder I've seen in the history of basketball. This guy's a healthy scratch for you. You traded for him, you bring him in, and he could actually contribute, and you're putting him on the bench because you think you're smarter than me? Like, come on. I know that you get paid millions of dollars, Steve Nash, but even I could have seen LaMarcus Aldridge would have helped you out. Your bigs did nothing. Okay, they gave you nothing in scoring. Andre Drummond was a bust and a bum. You could take him too. You could take him and Ben Simmons out with the trash, every week. Every week the garbage gets picked up. Make sure you put their jerseys and their stuff in the locker and tell them to get the hell out of the facility. okay, because they were trash. I liked the young kid that came in and was a shot blocker, but again, we got nobody.
Claxton.
You got rid of everybody for what? I mean, you got Karis LeVert not doing badly over in Cleveland. You got a couple of Dinwiddie. He's doing pretty well. Yeah, I know he's injured in the lineup.
And what was the biggest problem with this team in the playoffs? Shot blocking, rebounding, and all that. What was the guy they traded that was actually very good for the Nets? Jared Allen, who was the perfect fit for that team, and they traded him away.
Right.
If James Harden.
If he was on that team, it's probably a different ballgame. I swear to God, it's probably a different ball game because rebounding is what killed the Celtics this year. They didn't have a third guy. There was nobody to combat, the scoring of the Golden State Warriors. If Tatum didn't have a good game in like passing or anything like that, and he just had an off game, they were done. Yeah. If Tatum could facilitate and pass but have not a great scoring night, they still could win, right? But in Golden State, what's happening? They got guys coming off the bench shooting from miles away from the moon, hitting three-pointers. Why? Because they bring in the right guys. They know what they're doing. They're a championship pedigree. What are we? We're the Nets. We want to Scotch guard everything and put everything together with Scotch tape and go, hey, guys, here you go. The Nets deserve to be bad. I'm sorry. I hate to say it. They deserve to be bad, okay? Because they can't do anything right to get good.
I don't disagree at all. This team pisses me off so much. It pisses me off what this organization has done. They are pissed. They've pissed on their fans with what this organization has done the past 10, 15 years. And for the Nets fans that are actually out there, I'm sorry that you got to deal with this joke of an organization. But remember Prokhorov with his display he put out there years ago? We're going to win championship in 5-year span. Oh, where's the championship? Where's my Eastern Conference Finals position?
Hell, he's not even the owner anymore.
Exactly. He gave up ownership. He's like, I'm not winning a championship with this team. I'm going to get the hell out of here and sell my stake.
Oh, wait. This team's a dumpster fire? Let me get out now while I still am not in the red yet. You know what I mean? Oh, listen, man, the Brooklyn Nets are like this team that is just, they moved from Long Island to New Jersey. Right? They moved to New Jersey, and they're in the smog of New Jersey. They get a hint of a winning team, and then they break it. And of course, here we are now, 20 years later, and we're still in the same freaking boat. You would think in 20 years we can win a championship. Hell, the Golden State Warriors won fucking 4 in that time span. After not going
one championship,
right? One. Even Cleveland won. And we, you know what I mean? Cleveland Cavaliers won a championship in 20 years, and the Nets are still trying to figure out the magic sauce.
I'm sorry to bring this up, but Cleveland only won because of LeBron. I mean, like if LeBron was going to the Nets,
I'm sure you were a Cleveland fan too.
I love LeBron. Forever what he did for us. He got us 2. Almost got us 3.
What's going on, Lou?
What's up, G Nation? Thank you for being here. Matt, do you have anything to add to the NBA for the show?
No, I'm not the least of the NBA on this panel. I'm just not into it much anymore these days. It just doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry. These guys are soft.
You're smart.
That's just the way I feel about it. They bounce around from team to team. You just can't even really, it's hard to get invested because every year is just so much shuffling around with these rosters, and I just it's not the game I grew up loving and enjoying and watching. To me, it's a different thing that I'm just not into. So
funny story about that, Mac. My brother, who's like you, he doesn't watch the game anymore because it's been so soft and everything. He told me he turned on the NBA the other day, and he didn't realize he was watching the NBA until like 20 minutes in. Because he was sitting there and he's like, "Is this the WNBA?" Everybody had long hair. They were skinny. He was like, "Is this the women's league?" And then he was like, "Oh no, this is the NBA." He was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, man. These guys want to have dreads and shoot threes." You know what I'm saying? And that's basically it, man. I mean, Steph Curry. Let's be real. He wouldn't last in the bad boy Nick era. He wouldn't last. He would not. He would not. He would not. Listen, no.
Talk about the speed of the game.
No, you give me. Oh, this is what Mac was talking about, and I'm gonna have to light somebody. I'm gonna light you up right now. Okay, you need to sit down and get educated for a few seconds.
Of all time. So
no. You're disrespect. You're disrespect.
You've seen small players.
Oh my God! Give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a break. You're sitting here watching. Why? Because he's on a subway. Why? Because he's on a subway commercial. You love the guy. Give me a break. That kid.
How tall was Charles Barkley?
Charles Barkley was 6'4". What are you talking about, bro? 6'4", 260 pounds. He wasn't a small dude. Charles Barkley. That's your frame of reference. How about you tell me about John? How about you tell me about John Stockton? Allen Iverson. Steph Curry could not hold Allen Iverson's jockstrap. He couldn't hold his fucking shoes. That guy would be so crossed over. It would be so. I love Allen Iverson.
Disrespecting Steph Curry.
Oh my God, that's Steph Curry.
It could be like a Reggie Miller.
Curry is not as good. This is the problem. This is the problem. Can I speak, Zaya? Jesus Christ! You and your fucking shit about he's the best shooter of all time. He's this, that, and the other thing. This is what I'm talking about. I'm about to educate you. I'm about to take you back to school. Me and Mac were having a conversation the other day, and we were talking about how none of y'all motherfuckers knew about how good Larry Bird was. Right? You're like, oh, Larry Bird, this bum, no, right? You know what I'm saying? You wake up and you see this guy, Steph Curry, who gets an ankle injury walking onto the court every 5 minutes, and you think that he's going to be up with the bad boy Knicks? How about you do me a favor, and you go back and watch those championship years and those Michael Jordan years, and you tell me if Steph Curry could last with them boys, Bill Laimbeer, and the bad boy Knicks coming to town. He wouldn't. He would be out crying with Aisha or whatever, Ashley, whatever the fuck her name is.
You can't mention some of the two best teams of all time.
Oh, my God. It was the whole NBA, Zion. Oh, my Lord. I'm done. I'm done with this conversation.
That being said, Lou, if you guys want him on the show, he wants the link. Is it cool to drop him the link? That being said, let's move on. Great take, Adam. Disrespecting.
You dropped the link a little bit.
You're disrespecting the game by loving a guy like Steph freaking Curry, who all he does is shoot 3-pointers from the moon. You're like, oh, that's great. Guys, shoot 3-pointers. I'm like, give me a fucking break. Okay.
Wait.
Give me a break.
Adam, do you think he could be like a Reggie Miller if he was back then? Because Reggie Miller, that's pretty much what he was. You know what he would be? He would be fucking Steve Kerr. That's what the fuck Steph Curry would be, because he wouldn't have the physical chops to make it. All those little bunny hops that he does. Guess what? Rasheed Wallace is crazy. Okay, Ben Wallace is crazy. Okay, Charles Barkley, Dennis Rodman, they're crazy. You think Dennis Rodman's gonna be like, let this little? Mason was nuts.
I'm not gonna debate you if the game was more physical. You're in that conversation. I agree with you 100% of the time. The game was way more physical back then. You turn on the TV now, you can just go like that. You can flick someone.
Blow on him, it's a foul.
But here's the thing, though. I'm not going to go anoint somebody the greatest of all time because he's on a Subway commercial, all right? Or because he breaks 3-pointers.
That's someone that got KD his championship.
It's hard to compare eras. That's the problem. It's hard to compare eras.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I'll give you Michael Jordan. Do you think he can play in any era?
Oh, absolutely.
Lawrence Taylor. Do you think he can play in any era?
It's Lawrence Taylor.
Dan Marino, do you think he can play in any era? My point is that these guys that I'm talking about, Peyton Manning, were transcendental players. Steph Curry is not a transcendental player. He would not last in any duration of basketball back when it first happened. And even Mac knows it. He's keeping quiet because he doesn't want to go off like I am, because I know that Steph Curry, while he's good, isn't the best I've seen or the best I'll have ever in my lifetime. And that's fact.
A guy like Draymond Green would be able to last.
I'm not sitting there saying
that's fact. And you're going to say disrespect. You're sitting there disrespecting the game by liking LeBron James, who crab dribbles. Crab dribble was even a thing. Okay, that was called a fucking
conversation another time.
Oh my God!
I love the energy.
I love this. I love it.
No, Steph Curry's a disrespect. Give me a break.
That being said, G Nation will drop the link in a bit. Sports movies. So let's get back to that topic. Adam, you can begin. So some of your other best sports movies of all time. And then we'll move into the NFC West. followed by, I know there's a pay-per-view coming up for WWE. You guys can talk on that for a bit. So Adam, why don't you begin? Let's get one of your favorite sports movies. Just name another sports movie.
I love a team that we all know and love in this panel here, the Little Giants. Obviously, that's a football movie, goes way back. Again, I know it's a kid film, but, and if you didn't like Icebox who wore 56, obviously for a reason, Ed O'Neill played a great, douchey coach who's a Cowboy fan and, shits on his younger brother or friend. I forget who Rick Moranis is in the movie. But, that's one of my favorites. I should know more, but it's,
Icebox dad. Icebox's dad.
Exactly. So, and she plays on the Little Giants. They have no uniforms. They're a hodgepodge group of players. They got their quarterback who looks like Phil Simms. You know what I mean? They got their receiver who puts tar in his hands to catch the ball. And it was one of those movies to me that, especially because I was a Giants fan, like to me, it was like, yeah, this is, it was near and dear to my heart. So Little Giants.
Giants, help us, God.
Annexation of Puerto Rico. Come on, that place should be run every time, man. I think it's in Dayball's offense this year.
That's a good one.
Well,
Matt, do you have any movies to mention?
I do. I'm gonna stick with football here.
Let's get it.
My favorite football movie is
High School Musical is not a football movie. It's not a sport movie. Sorry.
The Program.
That's awesome.
Oh, the Program.
This movie here really goes, dives into the inner workings.
Is that Dennis Quaid?
Of James Caan is the coach, and Omar Epps is Omar Epps. Yeah, Omar Epps is in there. Was a running back, little recruit they was trying to get in. But anyway, that dives into the inner workings of the college football.
Who, by the way, had a fumbling problem.
Some of the dirty inner workings. See the little grimy stuff that you hear about, but obviously don't necessarily see. This movie.
Steroids.
How you doing further?
A lot of that, issue like you said with the steroids, just the guys, cheating and the classes not getting there. Just all that type of stuff. And one thing about this movie that is near and dear to my heart is because there's a famous scene that was removed from this movie. When it was first released, it was a scene where these guys laid down in the middle of like the highway while traffic was just darting past them. And because, some guy, people are dumb as a motherfucker and they went out and actually did that same shit and got themselves killed. They had to remove that scene from the movie, but I got to actually see the original movie because I went out and saw it the first night it came out in the movie theater without that scene being
That got that jumbo popcorn.
Yeah, that also, stands out with this movie for me. So just other words, though, it was just, like I said, it was it was just a good flick. If you you want to see some real life, drama about some of the inner workings of college football, what these dudes really go through a lot.
How you doing, Chad?
The seedier side of things. Program is where it's at, and it's just a good movie, man. The football scenes was actually lit. Great football scenes. It's a good movie. Are you injured or are you hurt?
Yes. I love the fact that the running back, Omar Epps. Is it Omar Epps, right? I'm saying Omar Epps. That he fumbled so much, they made him bring the ball around campus and all his teammates had to knock the ball out every time they saw him for him to get better. Right? And I'm like, yo, that's what Daniel Jones used to do. Okay? Stop fumbling. Brian Dable needs to say, hold this baby. And then everybody comes at him, Kayvon, Thibodeau, anybody. And he's peeing in the locker room. You go swipe at that ball. He's eating at the cafeteria. You go swipe at that ball. And I think, little fundamentals in the program is what makes that movie so, good, right? Like the guy said, especially the guy who paints his face like a skull. That guy is nuts.
Let's get it. Jeff, do you have your movie?
Well, I'm going to go back into one of my favorite films that I used to watch with my family all the time, that my father introduced me to when I was very young, and that's Field of Dreams. One of the best movies.
Wow.
Not even just sports movies, one of the best movies I've ever seen. About this man that kept hearing voices in his head, and the voices kept growing and growing, and what it ended up doing, he ended up trying to live out his dream, but building a baseball field in his abandoned cornfield, and all these famous old-time baseball players like Shoeless Joe Jackson, who was played by the great late Roy Liotta. If you build it, they will come. All these guys continuing to go over there, play some scrimmage baseball games. He's pretty much living out the dream of seeing all these great former baseball players. And
James Earl Jones is in that one too.
James Earl Jones, another one that was in that film as well. And nothing was more. If you're a fan, if you're anybody that loves like one of those heartwarming scenes, the end of the movie when he's over there and he gets the opportunity to play catch with his father, who passed away when he really never got the chance to do that when he was younger. Seeing him and his father when he was young playing catch on that baseball field to end the movie, how can you not just have like a great feel-good moment for that? So that's just always one of my favorite movies growing up was Field of Dreams starring Kevin Costner, the great late Ray Liotta, as well as James Earl Jones. Just one of the best put-together films in the late 80s, early 90s.
I feel like such a bum. I'm saying like, all these corny-ass movies. They got, Max says Miracle, right? He goes back and says The Program. Jeff is saying, Field of Dreams. And here I'm saying Little Giants.
At least yours is better than mine. I'm gonna go cheesy route because there's not that much comedy, goofy movies about sports. So I'm gonna go with The Benchwarmers. That's a super cheesy movie.
It was absolutely awful. Absolutely awful.
And Adam may think it's awesome. I think it was pretty awesome.
Awful, not awesome. Awful.
It's stupid funny.
Is that the one with Napoleon Dynamite in that movie?
Yes, and he got
yes.
Oh my God, that movie is fucking terrible. It was the only movie, I swear to God, it was the only movie I almost walked out of halfway through.
Have you seen the Dragon Ball Z M. Night Shyamalan or The Last Airbender? Those are pretty bad.
Yes, they are.
We're talking about sport movies, not just in general. This movie is terrible as a sport movie. The reason I don't bring it up is because
awesome.
It was.
I think we're talking about two different movies.
Oh my God!
That being said,
I'm sorry. I don't mean to criticize your choice.
No, you're good. You're good. I love it. That being said, let's move into, I believe we're on the NFC West. I'm gonna go fast. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, like it's the NFL and anything could happen. But I'm gonna just go have the Rams, obviously, unless something happens, and it's the NFL, anything can happen. I have the Rams, followed by San Francisco. I just believe that San Francisco has the better roster than everybody else. Followed by the Cardinals. You got to think about it too. They have a lot of great receivers, but the main guy is gonna be out for like 7 games in Hopkins. So that being said, I think San Francisco has a better team, the better defense than Cardinals. So that's why I have them finishing second. I have them taking the playoff spot at second. Then I have the Cardinals. And then as far as the Seahawks go, the Seahawks has, pretty decent roster, but there's just so much questions there with their defense and just many more questions than I have the answers for right now. So I have the Seahawks finishing last. Whoever wants to take it.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much am echoing. I know it's lame. I'm saying the same thing, but I'm pretty much echoing with what you're going right now. Until somebody's able to knock off that Rams team. Sorry, this is the Rams division, and it's going to continue to be that Rams division because Matt Stafford's still there. They got better at receiver with Allen Robinson now teaming up with Cooper Kupp. They're getting They have still a very good defense. Yeah, they lost Von Miller, but their defense is still very good. So until somebody can beat that team, the Rams are taking that division. San Francisco, the quarterback position is still a big question mark right now because you don't know what's going to happen with Jimmy G. Who knows what Trey Lance is going to be, but the team all around them is still very good in terms of the offensive playmakers. The offensive line is still solid, and the defense. So I got San Francisco second. I would say the Cardinals would have a better shot to get into that, maybe compete for that second spot in the division, but losing DeAndre Hopkins, they did lose Chandler Jones off that defense. That's going to hurt them. And I just think that Kyler Murray is so erratic. I mean, we have questions about Daniel Jones. What is Kyler Murray? This guy is such a question mark as well. At times he can play great, and other times he just makes the mind-numbing mistakes too. And I mean, no Hopkins. We saw what happened when Hopkins wasn't there before. So I think the Cardinals are going to be third. And in the Seattle, once they lost Russell Wilson, you knew that team was going to be in the middle of a rebuild. Drew Lock, Geno Smith. I don't trust any of these guys at the quarterback at all. I mean, you still got Metcalf, you got Fant, you got Lockett. They do have playmakers. The offensive line is young with some talent, but it's going to need some time to gel. Defense has got some decent players, but I think their defense is going to have some time too. So Seattle's going to have a rough year, maybe like 5-6 wins at anything, maybe worse. So, yeah, I just got Seattle as the 4th team.
Can I interject before you guys go, Mac and Adam? I just want to say thank you, Jeff, for bringing that point up, because I still have San Francisco for me, myself. I still have San Francisco going second, Red Trey Lance at the helm. Now, I get it. He's a rookie, but he also sat the bench his whole year, and he also learned a lot from just sitting on the bench. That being said, I don't know if I have any history of me saying that, but I truly believe that Trey Lance, just will be decent. I'm not going to scare out there and say he'd be great, but out of all the quarterbacks that came out with the same draft that he came out, he was one of my favorites. And just because of his arm strength, obviously he was a project. Obviously that's why he sat on the bench. But that being said, I still have San Francisco. If it was to, I have Trey Lance at the helm and still have San Francisco beating out Carolina. I just wanted to make that clear before I turn it over to Mac.
Well, look. Here we go. I think that we're going to get, obviously, the Rams winning this division once again. This team is fully loaded once again and ready for another run. So that's just like you said, until proven otherwise, can't take them off the top of the mountain in this division. With that said, second place, here's where I'm going to disagree, man, because here I'm coming with them Cardinals. I'm coming with the Cardinals. Kyler Murray got a lot to prove, man. It's been a lot of chatter this off season. Is this kid really here with it mentally? You know what I mean? Because we know what his physical abilities are. Let's face it.
Yes,
This
good.
man makes plays. This man makes plays.
Jeff, the difference between him and Daniel Jones is I know he's a better player. Period.
He makes those mind-numbing mistakes, and he gets hurt a lot too.
No. Talent-wise, he is a better player.
He makes the plays. He makes plays. So it's just okay. He got to prove he's strong enough mentally to hang in there, and I think he will do that. I think he will figure it out, put things together. This Arizona team has been, they've been knocking at the door. I think this year they get a little kick it in a little bit. You know what I mean? They still got them Rams up there that they still got to look up to. But then I feel like the 49ers are coming in this season with a little bit of dysfunction. I feel like they kind of casting out Jimmy G a little bit, coming off the injury. Is it going to be Trey Lance's team this year? Do we 100% know? Not really quite sure yet still. Deebo Samuel, they just don't seem to want to pay the man the money he's worth. So, this team's coming in with a little dysfunction, and I could see them slipping up a little bit and falling back. That's why I got the Cardinals jumping over top of them, man. I do believe in the talent of this San Francisco 49ers team, but I just feel like it's a little bit of dysfunction this year, and it's going to cause a few hiccups along the way. I do remember going back a few weeks ago on Premium Takes, picking Nick Bosa to be the Defensive Player of the Year, and I definitely still stand by that. But as far as the San Francisco as a whole, I just think it's going to be a potential year of struggle for them a little bit, a little up and down play. And then, Seattle pulling up the rear, total rebuild mode. They're just not going to be competitive in this division. And we just lost Adam for a second again, so I'm sure we'll get him right back. But, that's how I feel about that, man.
And not to say that I think Kyler Murray is bad quarterback. I think he's still I'm not crazy. Of course he's better than Daniel Jones. But I'm just saying he's had injury issues, and he has had moments of inconsistency. Can he make the key plays when they're there? Yes. But I still think he's had some moments where you're just scratching your head, what are you doing? With him. I still have some reservations about him. Go ahead, Adam.
Listen, I'm gonna go with Max take a little bit on this. I'm gonna go with the Rams. I think they got a lot to prove there, but let's be honest, they're the cream of the crop in that division right now. They're Super Bowl champs. I'll give them the respect where they deserve. They not only are the Super Bowl champs, but they have the best defensive player in the game right now. They signed back Leonard Floyd. I mean, they did a few things this offseason as well to keep themselves relevant. They also own the best receivers in the game, Cooper Kupp. So we can't overlook that. And we got to give him his respect too, Matthew Stafford, being a quarterback that I think people don't respect because he played for Detroit. This is the conversation I have every week with people about Matthew Stafford. Now that he's good on the national stage, guess what? He's here. The next
Now
team,
you guys notice him?
exactly. The next team that I'm going to go with here is I think I'm going to go with the Cardinals as well. I just think their defense is still pretty good. Their offense did what they needed to do. I think they'll figure it out with the DeAndre Hopkins thing, and I think you'll see more. I think they'll change it up with Kyler Murray because it's a big year for him. He wants to get paid, right? That's not a secret. He wants to get paid, so the only way you get paid is to perform. And I wouldn't pay him now because your last game, like Jeff said, he had a clunker. There was LA had his number in the playoff game, so you're only as good as your last game. So for me, I wouldn't pay him on that performance, but I do believe he has talent. And I think they'll figure out a way. And if they come out guns blazing right out the gate, we'll be talking a different tune. San Francisco's interesting to me because they still don't know what they're doing with Jimmy G. Okay, and they could be fourth in the division. And here's why I'm going to say they're fourth. The only way I think they're fourth is if Seattle gets Baker Mayfield. There's a rumor that Baker Mayfield's in the works of possibly going to Seattle.
How is Baker Mayfield going to score on the San Francisco 49ers defense?
Anywho, the Baker Mayfield will have DK Metcalf and a solid offensive system that they got going on up there, but you play more than just defense, Zion.
That's
okay,
true. That's
and
100% true.
And if you get rid of Jimmy G, who, by the way, we all agree is caca. Like, I don't care what anybody tells me. That the playoffs showed me that what Jimmy G was. Not once did Jimmy G win them that game. Hell, Jimmy G damn near lost them the game. Damn near lost them the game going into the playoffs. Threw 2 interceptions in a game. Blew the Green Bay game when they had a chance to win the football game. Would have punched their ticket to. Well, they did beat Green Bay, but my point is they could have lost that game if it wasn't for a blocked fumble, right? Because Jimmy G was having a horrible game. Even Aaron Rodgers was having a terrible game, but at the end of the day, you look at both their numbers, Aaron Rodgers wasn't that bad. I think Aaron Rodgers didn't help himself in that game. That's a story for another day. My point is, if you're putting in Trey Lance, you're going to have to deal with the growing pains. And I trust Baker Mayfield right now over Trey Lance than any of the. And now, if you put Jimmy G back there,
that's a good point.
If you put Jimmy G back in the game, and I'm only saying this is if Baker Mayfield comes, I would then take the 49ers. Now, if they don't have Baker Mayfield, I'm still taking the 49ers because I think they have a better overall team than Seattle. Now, Seattle, let's get to them real quick. They're a team in transition, but they got Noah Fant, who I like. Noah Fant. People sleep on Noah Fant, yo. He was if you don't know who Noah Fant is, go look him up. He was a decent tight end for Denver, and because he played in Denver and their crappy offensive line, I would have loved to see him in Denver right now.
And I think Denver only let them go because they drafted that fast ass rookie.
Well, they let him go because they traded for Russell Wilson. So they're like, we got to give up something to get a player.
True, but like that,
I'm just saying, like, I get it, but like, I would have loved to have seen Russell Wilson and Noah Fant on the same team. I think that would have been amazing, but of course they didn't. So to wrap it up for me, Seattle will be holding up the rear again. If they get a quarterback that's competent in there, like a Baker Mayfield, I think they'll make a strong push for the third position.
I like that point, and I was gonna question. Obviously, it's America. We're entitled to our own opinion, but the fun thing about this show is we like to have conversations. And I was gonna question Mac's point about Hopkins, but you answered it in your point. I mean, like, I think they'll get by as well. You look at the receivers they have a young Moore. I mean, like, he's pretty good, and he can turn out to be a pretty decent receiver for them. Along with
they also got guys. Hollywood Brown.
That's true too. That's a good name they got in the draft.
Got deep threat.
They got a lot of deep threats on that team too.
In college, they already have that natural chemistry.
Absolutely,
right. I mean, that's the same argument for Devontae Adams and Derek Carr, right? So
that is true. And I do have like San Francisco edging, but I don't see the Cardinals hanging around with Seattle. You know what I'm saying? I don't. I see it being close between San Francisco and the Cardinals, but San Francisco edging.
I think it's San Francisco's quarterback position could kill them. That's the reason why I think.
Forgot to mention Bobby Wagner's also in LA. Just to
That's true.
throw
Yeah.
that out.
That's a good point. And I just think, because I don't want to keep on explaining myself, but like I just think that San Francisco, to counter that young quarterback, just go back to what you guys are known the best for the past couple of years, is the one game and the scheming on the one game. And I get it, Mike, he went over to Miami, but there's still Kyle's game plan. You know what I'm saying? Won the ball, there's Debo Samuel. Just get the ball to him. It's not that easy, obviously, but control the time of possession with the ground and the ground game and your defense. And that's why I have San Francisco beating those tough nose kind of fourth quarter.
Well, they better hope Trey Lance is good. Otherwise, they're going to end up on the unemployment line. So
absolutely.
They traded up for that guy. So
they did. That being said, I know there's a major pay-per-view. I kind of wiggled out of the world of WWE for a bit, hopping back on, hopefully closer to SummerSlam. I'm going to start watching again. I'm a casual fan. But that being said, there's a major pay-per-view going on. I believe it's Money in the Bank. Correct me if I'm wrong. The boys, take it away. Let's talk about the weekend review. Anything major is happening on AEW, the other company? Any major things going on with WWE and the next pay-per-view?
Well, I mean, if you're an AEW fan, the news just broke before. Apparently, Cesaro just debuted at Forbidden Door as the mystery opponent for Zack Sabre Jr. because of the fact that Danielson couldn't compete because he was dealing with an injury, and they were going to hype up a former WWE star to take the place of Danielson in that match. So apparently it was Claudio that just debuted at Forbidden Door to take the spot, facing off against New Japan's Zack Sabre Jr. I mean, I think I'm just like a quick point on the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. I think it's still going to do very good pay-per-view buy rates because the AEW fan base is one of the most hardcore, loyal fan bases you'll see out there. They love that type of wrestling, and you're doing two major promotions going against each other with some of the top wrestlers in each company. I mean, I know AEW is dealing with some major injuries right now at their company. No CM Punk, Adam Cole's banged up, Danielson's out. You got some of the other lower card guys and women that are injured right now. But, I mean, you still have two major companies putting it together, having this dream type pay-per-view that's been orchestrated by Tony Khan and Rocky Romero of New Japan. So, I mean, it's still going to do very well for those hardcore fans that just don't care for the entertainment aspect of WWE. And it's, segue over to WWE, Money in the Bank going to be coming out on this coming Saturday. The Money in the Bank, the purpose of the pay-per-view is sort of similar to the Royal Rumble. You want to take the chance of elevating a young talent or a talent that's just on the cusp of going for a mid-card champion or a mid-card wrestler and elevate them to the main event scene. This is what Money in the Bank should be all about. And
now we have no wrestlers on the roster.
And that's everybody's either injured or the fact that they're too afraid to elevate new stars to that main event scene. I think this year, especially the fact that you have Randy Orton, who is out right now with the back injury. You have Cody Rhodes, who's been dealing with the pec injury, who was probably the favorite to win that Money in the Bank match. This is your perfect opportunity to take a chance to elevate a woman and a man in each of those briefcase matches and put them in that main event scene and try to make new stars. For the women, I think the perfect person to do that is Liv Morgan, who they have been building her up slowly in that main event scene, as well as teetering on the mid-card, teetering on the main event. She's had title opportunities. She's just missed out, but I think she's ready to hold on to that briefcase because, she is a fan favorite to a lot of the younger fans out there. I think this is her chance to elevate her to that main event scene, give her the Money in the Bank, let her become a Raw Women's Champion. And for the men, give the briefcase to Matt Riddle. You have to find a way to get Matt Riddle in there. I mean, Mac and I were discussing this. We were watching Monday Night Raw. I'll let you say your point a second, Adam. Mac and I were just messaging back and forth, like, why the hell are you putting Omos in this match? What purpose does Omos have to be in this Money in the Bank match?
That's
the guy's as green as grass, and you throw him in there because Vince McMahon has like a sudden infatuation with this guy being in there because he's a big guy, can do big guy moves, beat people up with the ladder. Omos has no business to be in there. He's not ready. He can't barely cut a promo in there. MVP is carrying him right now. Put Matt Riddle in that match on this coming Monday Night Raw. Get him in there. I would have him as one of the favorites, if not the favorite right now, to win that briefcase. Elevate him, who's been white hot right now going against the Bloodline. You have a storyline written right there where Matt Riddle has been wanting to go against the Bloodline and do everything he can to avenge Randy Orton and get back at Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. What better way than him holding that briefcase around for a better part of however long you want to have him there and have him beat Roman Reigns or even Brock Lesnar at this point and elevate him to that main event seat and make him the WWE Universal Champion, whatever they're calling the world title now. But that's just a quick point on that. I mean, WWE has the opportunity right now to elevate 2 stars to the main event scene. Mac, Adam, take it away.
What's going on, Randall, man? Just
How
great
you
job
doing,
with that UFC pay-per-view last. Not pay-per-view, but the UFC event last night. Great stream, brother. You did a great job holding it down for hardcore sports. So I just want to say shout out to Randall the Handle, man.
Awesome. I look at it like this: if I were writing for WWE, Vince McMahon, maybe you should listen to the Premium Takes. You might have a better show.
Stephanie McMahon.
Well, no, yeah, well, you're right.
He's still Vince.
It's Vince is still doing his stuff inside his house. He's right, like give me the
That's
script.
true. That's so true.
Right?
Give me the script, Adam.
Sorry, continue.
But the thing is, there's a guy who's annoyingly good. His name is Theory, and if I were the WWE, I would have him lose the title on Monday Night Raw, have him cry his way into the Money in the Bank, and give it to that guy. Because if you're going to push him, he reminds me of John Cena. He looks exactly like what John Cena was cut out of, right? The attitude, aggression, whatever, blah blah blah. Like, and they're celebrating Cena, and he's going after Cena. I'm just like, this is the guy for me who could be arrogant. I'm Mr. Money in the Bank. I was the USA champion. Now I'm Mr. Money. You know what I'm saying? Whether or not he wins the cash in, that's up to you. You could go either way with it. But to me, like you're saying, building up. I like Riddle. Love what Riddle can do. I think he would be a great champion. I think he would represent the company well, even though he's that bro. But Austin Theory, to me, there's something about him that I'm like, yo, this guy is going to be the next superstar of this company and carry this company. And I think it would start with Money in the Bank. I mean, if you're going to put Riddle in there, I think you can also throw in Austin Theory. Well, I know he's not in it, but that's just one of my things I would do.
Well, I got an interesting take on Money in the Bank now. Because in light of Sami fucking Zayn
I love him.
qualifying for this Money in the Bank ladder match, man.
Love
Do
that dude.
you see
I
this
hope he wins it.
Because I see it possibly happen. I see it. I can
No.
see it. I got the gears grinding, man.
No.
Sami Zayn wins that Money in the Bank, man. He wins
love
that
it.
thing.
Yes, Sammy.
Gets that briefcase. And
Is it on Roman Reigns?
and hey,
And he's now the leader of the bloodline. He's now the leader of the bloodline.
after sitting there and saying he wasn't and telling them he's not going to cash in on Roman, I'm not going to cash in on Roman. He wins it and cashes in on Roman. How epic would that be if Sami Zayn was the one to dethrone Roman Reigns of the title by cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase on Roman Reigns?
I think Roman Reigns would be so embarrassed. He would be so embarrassed to lose.
That'd be cool.
I love
But
it, man.
for what it's worth, people. For what it's worth, Sami Zayn, in a sense, is almost owed an opportunity. I mean,
Yes.
he won the NXT title back when he won the NXT title. That got basically immediately taken away from him via his best friend, Kevin Owens. Comes in the same night, just squashes Sami Zayn basically. The same night he wins the NXT title. So, he comes up on the main roster. He's had a couple Intercontinental or U.S. title runs, whichever.
Well, yes.
But Sami Zayn, for what it's worth, as much as people can feel however they want about him, he's accomplished. He is a talented superstar in the ring.
Best work of his career. Best work right now.
And Sami Zayn is due a real opportunity for what it's worth. He's paid his dues. Paid his dues.
I agree with you.
Man, you sold me. You sold me, bro.
He's long
sold
past
me.
wrestling Johnny Knoxville in WrestleMania matches. Yeah, sure, it was entertaining. It was fun. It was an entertaining match. It was just fun, all the crazy jackass stuff. But Sami Zayn is legit a top contender. He's not He's a main event caliber performer, and it's just time to get him up on that stage, and maybe possibly this could be the way he somehow wins that briefcase and ends up cashing it in. Whether it's on even Roman or Brock Lesnar, it doesn't even matter at this point.
He does deserve to be a world champion.
Or The Rock. But my point is, I see Sammy for me I kind of think he's fallen into his lane, like Dolph Ziggler, because Dolph Ziggler should be a main eventer more than he is, right? That guy has a very decorated career, right? Definitely a Hall of Fame career for Dolph.
The most exciting cash-ins ever when he cashed in New Jersey.
And my point with it is that for me, I don't see Sami Zayn. I don't even see him as a better person than Dolph Ziggler. I think he's great on the mic. I think he's great at his role. I think he should stay in his role, right? I think he should stay at the mid-card, Intercontinental title, USA title level, because I think that's where he fits. And it's not, you can have a Hall of Fame career doing that. You don't always need to be the heavyweight champ. But I don't see like the charisma that Daniel Bryan got because he's an underdog. The thing they made him do to work for that championship, he had to beat like Batista, Triple H, and somebody else. You know what I mean? Right. And not only that, he was always counted on, made fun of, and then he comes in and has this yes movement. Ooh, no one thought that was going to be good, right? And next thing you know, it goes like wildfire. So unless Sami Zayn can come out and give me a catchphrase that's going to light a fire under me, I'm not tuning in every week to see Sami Zayn.
I just got a hypothetical for you guys and for the chat too that's has been watching WWE. There's right now 2 open spots left for the men, and there's 1 open spot left for the women. Out of all the people that are not in the Money in the Bank,
you know who's getting the women's spot. We know who's getting the women's spot.
You're saying Becky, right?
Come on.
Yes.
Maybe they throw a swerve. Becky's been on a losing streak lately.
Oh my gosh, she's probably going to win the Money in the Bank.
There's going to be some random match tomorrow night on Raw. Tomorrow night on Raw. There's going to be some random match that she's finally going to win and be the hell in the Money in the Bank ladder match. It's a foregone conclusion.
They have nobody else.
Could you put in there? Who else?
Sasha Banks. Right now? Sasha Banks is gone. Naomi is gone. Bailey's not healthy.
Bailey, I know Bailey.
Ripley.
Rhea Ripley deserves to be in it, but she's injured, so they're not putting her in it.
Yeah, we're getting Carmella. We're getting Carmella.
That's a joke.
Carmella.
We should get some.
The men, you have some options though. You can get Nakamura in there. You can get Owens. You can have Riddle. You can have Styles. You can have.
I'm gonna put Ezekiel.
What better way than having Judgment Day, which I don't know why the hell they weren't on Raw this past Monday. What better way to help get a little bit more,
because they're gonna be wasted.
Put Balor in that match, and even have Balor be one of the favorites to win it. Now that he's a heel, you want to make Judgment Day a little seriously? Put Balor in there. That guy deserves a championship too. He had the championship for a day before he got hurt and had to relinquish it, and he's never sniffed another championship since. Balor deserves a championship.
That would be interesting because you could have his henchmen come down and help him kind of eliminate some of the other people, right? Take them out, Rhea Ripley and all that. But hey, man, this is Money in the Bank. But I want to know something from you guys.
That's funny.
I want to know about Brock Lesnar. Okay, why on God's green earth are we going back down this road?
Because they panicked because Randy Orton got hurt, and he was supposed to be in line to face Roman Reigns during the summer, so they had to push the panic button when Rhodes and Orton got hurt. So they had to bring back a former star to take his spot.
But Brock Lesnar can't lose. Do you understand that if you keep making
I get it. I get what you're saying, Adam. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's a perfect opportunity to build a new star, but, I mean, hell, it's not going to work. We got to throw the Lesnar thing back out there.
How would they want to do that? Oh, I'm desperate now. We got to get Brock Lesnar back.
Yeah, exactly. You just said it right there, Mac.
Well, I'm telling you, they're probably going to put the title on Brock because if Vince McMahon goes, he's going to want a guy that's going to be more alluring. You can do more with Brock Lesnar than you can with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns' character, to me, has peaked. Like, yes, he's bad. He's had a great title run. Again, I don't think he's the greatest of all time. I'm not going to say that. I respect his run. I think his run has been a little helped because of his absences, a lot of the way he's been booked. I mean, Kevin Owens technically should be the champion. That match he had, I forget what pay-per-view it was, where he's doing a moonsault off.
Match.
Right.
Where he's doing standing match as well.
when he was doing a moonsault off the top rope off the scaffolding, I said, "Why are you not?" I said, "Why are you not giving this guy the championship? He gave you one of the best matches in a COVID pandemic year. One of the best matches I ever seen in Safeco Park or wherever the hell they were doing that match. I forget what pay-per-view it was. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but like, what can you do?"
Well, why don't you put Kevin Owens in the Money in the Bank match after what this guy's been doing with his work, with the Austin storyline that he did mostly by himself, and he's made one of the stupidest storylines at the beginning into arguably the most entertaining thing going on WWE main roster TV with this whole Ezekiel thing, because it's been funny. I'm loving it. I think it's great.
That's the guy that deserves to get a title shot. It would be Kevin Owens. If you wanted to ask me,
I agree. I'm not disagree with that either. Kevin Owens.
There's a lot of guys
absolutely as well does. I'm just
they put in Drew McIntyre. Okay, I see that. Okay, whatever. But if you I feel bad for Kevin Owens because he was a good Universal Champion. People forget he's the guy. He's the guy that the belt got dropped to for Finn Balor. Right? He won the open competition for the belt when it was vacated. And he came in and he was a big ass heel. And you're like, I love this guy. He's just an asshole. And he knows how to carry himself well. And, he got injured and lost the title. I think he had it another time quickly. Again, they gave it to him. And then, of course, they gave it to the other marquee stars. I don't know if he did anything in the back to not warrant it, but this guy does moonsaults. He's like, to me, he's like a guy that we're wasting his talent because we want to put him in storylines with The Miz, with Ezekiel, with these freaking jobber type characters. Like, I love Walk with Elias. I don't know why they changed him to Ezekiel. I thought Elias was great. I thought that guy had championship written all over him.
I agree 100% with you about the Kevin Owens thing. He's also another guy more than deserving an opportunity that's just not getting the opportunities that I feel like that I agree with you. He's earned. So,
would you guys go ahead, Mac?
No, I was saying I don't want you to think I disagree with you on that point about Kevin Owens. I just was talking about the Sami Zayn thing about him being in the match. I'm going with that angle because I feel like he's a guy that's in the match now that, if you think, in my opinion, has paid his dues and is enough is enough.
Did you have him lose to Roman Reigns?
I
haven't demolished Roman Reigns.
It goes to that. For me, I'm just at a point where I've seen Sami Zayn. I've seen him for a long time. NXT when he was in the Indies a little bit back in the day. Sami Zayn can go, man. Like I said, he's a main event caliber talent in the ring, and I'm just tired of seeing him and continuously and nothing but hokey little.
Did he have a cage match recently?
I'm
not even sure. I can't
think so.
I thought he had a cage match.
All those choices,
Zayn had a cage match with Drew McIntyre.
Yes.
That was just a long time ago.
All those guys that you mentioned that we've talked about, every single one of them deserve an opportunity to win that briefcase.
Absolutely.
Whether it's Kevin Owens, whether it's Finn Balor, whether it's Sami Zayn, Matt Riddle, all these guys deserve an opportunity to hold that briefcase. Every single one of them have been doing great work, and every single one of them are on the cusp of becoming world champion. How ironic would it be, and what a Vince McMahon move he would do if he puts it on somebody like Omos of all people? Because Vince
I can see him doing that.
I can see it too because it's Vince McMahon and he's infatuated with this guy somehow.
If that happens, the whole arena would just start to boo very loudly. I guarantee that. So Vince better not even remotely have that on his.
He's got to be smart about it. You have so many guys that are.
Matter of fact, they better already have a plan to get Omos pretty much out of the match kind of immediately, just to raise a non-factor. Like, I don't know, bury him in a bunch of ladders somewhere, do something crazy.
Like they did with Big Show or somebody else.
There's nothing you can't convince me there's anything he's going to be able to give to this match to make this match good. He's gonna be too clunky in the ring. It's gonna be clumsy. It's not gonna be a good look. I don't know why they would put Omos in a match like this at this stage of his career. He is just nowhere near ready for this.
You know why they put him in there? Because they want to put in a guy that's big and intimidating, can swing around ladders, beat the crap out of people, have that big intimidating figure in there. That's the only reason why they put them in there, because Vince McMahon, for some reason, is like in love with this guy. I don't get it. I mean, when you and I talked about this, like, why the hell would you put a guy that's as green as Omos, who has zero charisma? MVP's doing everything he can to make this guy somewhat relevant. He can't do
Yeah, but that's why they
anything
gave him
right.
MVP, because they
But it's
can
not
do the
working.
big.
It's not
But
working with him.
not yet. I mean, they just got paired together a couple weeks ago.
But it's clear
Listen.
like this guy needs time.
By the way, breaking news: Colorado Avalanche are Stanley Cup champions.
Congratulations to the
There you
Colorado
go.
Avalanche.
Premium
There you
takes,
go.
baby.
That's
Game
just one.
6.
Just one.
Go ahead, Joe. I mean,
Just wanted to just say that at the show. Colorado Avalanche are now your Stanley Cup champions. Congratulations to them.
Let's
That's
get
your
it. I
premium
just heard something about
for the
Colorado
NHL.
winning it all.
Yes.
Yes.
Good
Yes.
job on
Live.
Avalanche. I don't want to wrap you guys up. You guys want to continue, or we can move on? To
We can
our
move on.
final-
We can move
We can
on.
move on. Yeah.
Alright,
We covered it.
Next week we're gonna probably give our favorite sports moments again. So
Are we
that
not gonna
takes
do
the
the
coming
NFC
back
East?
in. Oh, we are gonna do that. But next week we're gonna probably to have some time beginning of the show and at the end of the show we're gonna give our favorite sports moments. But we're probably gonna give a movie real fast. Our final movie. We asked everybody to pick 3. We ended up with the best division in all of football. It's just me being biased. The Giants, the NFC East, and then we'll call it a show, and we'll begin the next episode with some of our favorite sports moments. And I know there's some. I know we didn't cover Deshaun Watson. What's going on with him? I know Mac wanted to talk about that, so I apologize about that, Mac. We can
That's
get into
all
that.
good.
There's
We
some
didn't
other
get
major
there, you know
news
what
that
I
we
mean?
didn't we didn't get
wasn't
there.
big enough on the agenda this week.
Yeah, absolutely. That being said, I'm gonna start it off with the Gridiron Gang. I know it's another cheesy
Woo!
one, but I do
That's a
love
good
that
one.
movie, Cheeseburger
That's a
Eddie.
great movie.
Great actors from top to bottom. Love the whole concept of the movie. You have a all-star NFL quarterback goes to jail over some BS, and I can't really remember it, but I know Adam Sandler goes to jail. He ends up playing.
That's
some
the longest
football.
yard.
You think your Gridiron
Oh.
Gang was The Rock?
With The Rock. I'm sorry. Well, I'll add in the longest yard too. Can I
That's
take
the
them
longest
both?
yard.
That is the longest word. But the Gridiron Gang is with The Rock, and
What's going
I'm
on,
probably
Josh?
thinking of the longest word, so I'm not going to say the Gridiron Gang. The Rocket Exhibit, that's another great movie, but I was thinking of the longest word, and I want to mention Gridiron Gang, but since I was thinking of the longest word, I'm going to say the longest word and pass the buck.
Oh man, I have a
Well,
couple.
look.
What's up, Josh?
I'm gonna go the comedic route this time.
Oh, you better not steal one. I'm about to think.
I know.
I've
I'm
been
thinking.
taking this a little bit serious. So I'm gonna go to one of my favorite comedy sports movies, and that is Major League.
Oh, yes. What a great one.
The Cleveland Indians. That movie was just absolutely hilarious. I mean, all the characters, man. The damn Charlie Sheen, the other people, the other guys.
Randy Quaid in the crowd. Randy Quaid in the
my
crowd
God,
always
yeah.
screaming at the crowd. Oh, God, it's so good.
Wesley Snipes, Willie Mays Hayes. I mean, the movie was just absolutely hilarious. One of my favorite movies when I was a young buck, man, growing up.
Still is a good one.
I would just watch that all the time. It's just, even to this day, it's still funny when I catch it every once in a while. It still just cracks me the hell up. I mean, even though I know the damn movie line for line down there because I used to watch it so much when I was a kid.
I love it.
But yeah,
So
the
deep.
Indians.
One or
man.
two, man.
Bob Euchre,
One or two.
Bob Euchre's calls, man. Oh,
Oh, it's so good.
2 for the
There's
money.
That's
Yes.
that's not even the question. Never had to ask me. Bob Euchre's the calls in that movie were absolutely great. It was just
Just a bit outside.
just hilarious, man. You know what I mean? This team of misfits turning it around, getting it together, and winning it in the end, man. Knocking off their arch nemesis, which in this movie was the New York Yankees. So yeah, just one of my, I've been a little serious with my other 2 picks earlier, so I just thought I'd get
Oh.
my little funny ones.
AK took mine that I was going to say. I was going to say The Replacements.
Oh, that was
I think-
mine too.
The Replacements is a good one.
That was great.
Quarterback Falco. I mean, it's one of those movies where you're just like, yo, this
Love that
is
film.
funny. John Favreau kind of being the middle linebacker that's going crazy, hitting people. The Samoan that they got. The
Gene
smoking.
Hackman as the head coach.
Oh my God, the smoking kicker. I'm whiting. You know what I mean? Like he has so many classic lines, classic movies. Of course, I loved football. So and to watch that movie and to see it play out, it was a lot of fun. So that was
I
mine.
love it. I gotta
Well,
try
there's
to think
another
of
one
one
right
off.
in that same lane. There's another one right in that same lane. I'm thinking of right at the top of my head right now. Another football movie right in that same lane with the replacements.
What are you talking
I'm a,
about? Were you talking about the Water Boy?
No,
I got one. If anybody remembers this one, you
Interesting.
ever
Now I
remember
gotta think.
this? You ever remember this movie, a soccer movie, another kids movie, The Big Green?
Ladybug.
The Big
you
Green.
said the big.
The
Wow.
Big Green. Going back in the day, another similar to like the Little Giants, similar to the Mighty Ducks, a bunch of ragtag kids, a guy who was a former sheriff, another person,
You're not
a
saying
woman
any
who's
given
a
Sunday.
teacher. No, like these a former sheriff as well as a teacher putting together this ragtag bunch of kids to enter into soccer league. No chance, can't kick a ball for their lives. The goalie has all these weird dreams and fascinations with like all these weird nightmares and imaginations he has. And all of a
What the?
sudden, and like the
It's the
championship
Big
game,
Green.
you've never heard of the Big Green?
No.
It's similar to Little Giants. It's a soccer movie. See, AK knows what I'm talking about. The goalie has all these dreams and like imaginations of like all these nightmare things that happen to him, and all of a sudden, like when they go up against the best soccer team in the league in the championship, he's going up against the coach's son, who's like the best player in that soccer league, and he's using his mind games to like screw him up by like getting into his dream himself. And these bunch of ragtag kids that they just threw together as a team, practicing in the mud. This coach wants nothing to do with them, similar like Mighty Ducks. Puts them together, and what do? They come together as a soccer team, go out there, and they win the Little League soccer championship. So Big Green, big part of my childhood. Another one of those great kids movies.
Nemar said it was awesome too.
Wow.
Thank you, Nimar.
I guess I missed that one.
And AK said he thinks it's from like about '94, so it's
Yeah, it was
old
around that
school.
time, like 93, 94, around like the Little Giants.
Guess I didn't see it. So Mac, what is this other movie? I must know. I must know this little title that you're hiding. I know we only do 3, but Mac, you can't leave me hanging. Don't leave me hanging.
Well, I
Tell me
mean,
what.
well,
Here's the hit.
AK mentioned the replacements, so I'm figuring, a, a movie right in that same lane in the sense of necessary roughness. I don't know if
Oh
you.
my God, you're right.
Oh, yes, you're right. That's a
Right.
I
good
just
one.
wanted to say this, like hearing everybody, talk and give their points. I was extremely surprised because not even I mentioned these movies. We got a couple of handfuls. We got Rocky. We got Slumdog Millionaire.
Happy
We
Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore. We got Invincible. I know Eagles loves Invincible and Mark Wahlberg. So handful of movies that I just thought of
That's
after
two
the
thus
fact.
far, shooter.
Yep.
You
But
can
yeah.
count. And you can count on me waiting for you in the parking lot.
I mean, hell, if you want to go down that road, we can just say Blaze of Glory is one of the greatest movies.
Blades of Glory.
Sports movies of all time.
Talladega Nights, anybody?
Oh my God, Ricky Bobby,
Talladega Nights is
don't you
If you ain't,
don't
if you ain't
Shake
first,
and
you
bake.
last.
Shake and bake.
shake and bake, baby, shake and bake. You better not put that knife in your leg, Bobby.
Rush was a masterpiece, Rush was a pretty good movie. I don't know if you guys
Yes.
see that.
Well, let's get to the NFC East, Phil.
Let's wrap it up with our last topic. I'm gonna begin. I'll be fast. I have the Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Commanders.
Eagles.
Just like that, right? You just like, okay.
Eagles are going to be the best team in this division. I think I think the Eagles did the most in the offseason to improve their team. It's just, is Jalen Hurts going to take that next step? But I think that's a good one too. I think that the Eagles are going to be, unless they just have a similar collapse like they did about 10 years ago, I think the Eagles will win this division, get about 10, 11 wins. So Eagles fans, I'm sure you're loving that. Cowboys, even though they did take some hits in this offseason, losing some key players like Randy Gregory, Amari Cooper, I still think they still have a very good core roster put together. I think they'll be competing with the Eagles for that division. I do have the Giants as the third team because I still think if this team can, and this is the miracle with the Giants because it never happens, but if that offense could stay together, if they could stay healthy, I think they could maybe have like a 6, 7, maybe 8, maybe a 9-win season if they could stay healthy and, actually play to the back of their card. I'm not counting on playoffs, but I still think the team is talented. In the defensive side, they have some good young players on that defense. The defensive line, I think, is going to be the key overall for that team. I'm not like some of the fans. I do think Daniel Jones has some talent. I think Daniel Jones could be a better quarterback this year with a better system. Not saying he's going to be great, but I still think he's going to be better. And I just think Washington, I'm sorry for the Carson Wentz fans out there. I don't believe in this guy. I think he's just like Daniel Jones, but I think Carson Wentz is far gone. I think he's just been so screwed up wherever he's been mentally. He just has so many mistakes that he makes in key situations. Chase Young coming back from a torn ACL, you don't know what you're going to get from him. I think their secondary is not that good. Gibson is a good running back, but he gets hurt a lot. The offensive line is inconsistent. I do like Dotson, but what are you going to do with McLaurin with his contract situation? He's even going to be there. And then you got the lingering thing that's going on with the organization in general with what's going on with Snyder. So I think they're going to come in last. That's Vance. Thank you. That's a great movie, too. Cool Runnings. Awesome suggestion.
Well. We are seeing things a little bit similar. I did say a little bit similar. We're seeing them similar at the top of the division. I do think the Eagles, as right now on paper, have leapfrogged the Cowboys. On paper, as what we know right now, which is all we can base things off of right now, is on paper. So right now, I think the Eagles have done enough to leapfrog the Cowboys at this point of the process going into the season. So I do like the Eagles right now at the top of this division. I got the Cowboys right there still snipping at their heels. I think they're just the two best in this division without a shadow of a doubt right now. And but I honestly, guys, I'm gonna put them Commanders up in third place. And right now, I gotta put us back in that basement, man, because my expectations are gonna start there. And I hope they can prove me wrong and we can build from that. But I'm not gonna expect anything more than what they've shown me. And if what they've shown me is that we're a last place football team. And so until they can start showing me more, I'm gonna start my expectations from what they are, from what this team has been, and they have to prove to me and move up and get better. So that's just how I see it. That's just how I see it right now. With that being said, let's go New York Giants. Let's go Big Blue, baby. Let's take it all the way if we can. But that's a big if right now.
AK, I'm not kissing no egg. AK, I don't know what that reference means. But to me, I'm with Mac, my partner in crime in the NFC East roundup. He and I see eye on a lot of things. And one of the things I think you guys forget about, and we already know the two teams at the top, Eagles, Cowboys. It's one of those two are going to represent. I'm going to go with the Eagles, obviously, but I think, I think on, like Max said, on paper, they're the best team. But the Commanders, we laugh at Carson Wentz. But it wasn't too long ago when that guy was considered the MVP of the league. All right? 2017, while, yes, it looks like eons ago, he was playing at an MVP level, okay? He was playing lights out. And now he's coming to a division and a conference that's far weaker than what he's ever been. And so for me, and an NFC East where he's familiar, right? I mean, we laugh, but, Carson Wentz credentials put him up against the quarterback that plays in New York. Sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, Daniel Jones hasn't even sniffed close to being league MVP. Now, again, Carson Wentz is a bonehead, and he did some boneheaded things in Indianapolis. But it's not like he didn't do some good things in Indianapolis as well. Right? They were in some games. He had some magnificent games there too. He did have some boneheaded things down the stretch. So that's why I agree with Mac. The thing that with the Giants is this: I'm not going 9 wins. Hell, I'm barely even going 8. I'm going to give you a hard 7. Okay, a hard 7 wins, because this team was 4 and ... 13 last year, not 6 and 10, not 8 and whatever. They were 4 and 13, and mind you, they were an abysmal 4 and 13 team. And everyone looking at the Giant roster, oh, we got talent. What talent? The talent defense that we had. Where did that defense go? I'm still waiting for that defense to come through. And don't worry, I'll wait. You know, we get Kayvon Thibodeau. Oh my God, he's LT. We're gonna be the next big thing. Top 10 defense. Y'all are smoking some crack. Okay, it's good to be optimistic. It's good to have, you know, some hope. It's good to be excited about the new regime. Be that way. But don't sit here and try to gaslight me where we're sitting here, well, I'm going 11-6 and we got the best defensive line in football. Give me a break, okay? Give me a break. And this brings me to my point that I was listening to and what I really wanted to get to. Guy on Big Blue Kickoff Live, Paulie Dot, if you're listening, I got a bone to pick with you. He goes online the other day, and they're having a preview of the Tennessee Titans. They bring in a beat reporter from the Titans, and this guy's going over everything. Mind you, I'm listening to this guy, and he reminded me that the Titans defense is going to be filthy good next year. So just keep that in mind, Giant fans, as I go down this road. So
our offensive line is going to be gelling too. It's not going to be it's not going to be ready when it starts.
So here's you're like Paul. You sound like Paul Dottino. So Paulie Dots goes like this. He goes, you know, Derrick Henry's not going to get more, not 20 carries. Offensive line has got to gel, you know, injuries and all this stuff. And I'm looking at Paulie Dots and I'm like, what if that were Saquon Barkley, who by the way is in the same situation, right? New offensive line coming off a weak season or an injury-plagued season, right? And are you going to say that he's going to get 20 carries? Because guess what? Derrick Henry played in the playoff game last I checked. Okay, the guy has done everything this offseason with no rehab. So to tell me that he's going to come in game one and not get 20 carries a game against a defense against the Giants we don't even know can stop the run yet, give me a break, Paul Dottino. He's like, oh, that's going to be my upset special. I'm like, listen. He's like, because the Tennessee Titans don't know anything about the Giants, and I'm going to counter with this. The Giants don't know anything about the Tennessee Titans. You know why? Because they don't know what a good team is. That team's been fighting for the Super Bowl for the last 3 years. You think they're going to come in with their season on the line? And I say their season on the line because they're playing the Indianapolis Colts. And if it comes down to conference record or out of conference record against NFC East opponents in their record-wise mathematic equation, you don't think if Indianapolis goes 4-0 against the NFC East and they go 3-1 and they're 3-1 is some blemish because they wanted to overlook the Giants and they're not in the playoffs or don't win the division, that's going to come back to bite them? I don't think so. Mike Vrabel ain't going to play that game. Okay? So before we go here and anoint this team a Hall of Fame team, which every one of these Giant fans do, and I'm not trying to be negative, all I'm trying to say is pump the brakes. Let these guys fail. Let these guys get growing pains. Don't make your expectations so high because you're going to fall on your face. And when you fall on your face, you're going to be like, what the heck? What did I expect? No. You go in and you just say, hey, let's be competent. Let's run the offense. Let's be competitive. Let's do this. Let's win games because you don't want to lose, but let's build something. Let's not just be hollow like 2016. Let's not just have guys that don't show up. We have guys that are draft picks that we're excited about, haven't played it down in the NFL. And we're talking Josh Azudu is going to be the starting guard, and he's going to be like, the whole offensive line is fixed. They got Joe Feliciano, who could be fucking flipping burgers at Burger King, okay? Max Garcia came in. You know how many people told me that guy was great? Ricky Seals-Jones can't even crack the starting lineup. So before we go out there and give all these things, that's what I want to say. Before we start throwing shade at other teams and how bad they're going to be or what they're going to do come opening roster, how about we get our fucking ducks in a row?
No, I don't disagree with you at all. And I mean, when I was mentioning the offensive line, I was talking about the Giants' offensive line. I think the Giants' offensive line is going to be, still gelling at that point. I don't see the Giants' offensive line being anywhere ready for what that Tennessee Titans pass rush is going to be bringing. And it could be a very rough game for Daniel Jones that first week against that Titans pass rush. I mean, I think it's going to come down in that first game. It's going to come down to see what pass rush is going to be able to wreck the game more, because the Titans' offensive line did lose some prominent players there as well. And I mean, they're not as good as they were in the past.
Yeah, but they're a well-coached team. So
that's what I know. I understand. That's what you mean. They're a better, well-coached team, and they have a more proven guy than we don't know if Brian Dable is. I agree with you.
And the point is their depth came in and their depth played well, okay? Their guys came in and they stepped up. We have nobody besides our starters. So if you want to put my starters against a team, great. But guess what? What if somebody tweaks their toenail coming out of the shower and can't play on fucking Sunday, right? Then what happens? Okay, who's going to step up then? Matt Burita? Oh, I really want him to be my starting running back. Darius Slayton. Oh, I really want him to be my starting wideout against the Tennessee Titans. Like, they have no depth. Yet the Tennessee Titans can roll out there with bums at receiver and still get the job done because they're a well-coached team.
I don't disagree with you saying. I don't disagree with what you're saying at all, Adam. I'm just trying to be. I think it's. I'm going with like a little bit more of a ceiling aspect of it. That I think this team, if they can stay healthy, they do have some talent on that roster where they could potentially win 8-9 games if things fall into place. But that's if things fall into place.
I could win the lottery tomorrow.
Right.
I could get hit by a bus tomorrow.
I get that. I get your point. Like, I understand. The team has just a lot of unproven guys. We don't know what the hell the coach is. We don't know what the hell the GM has done. It's a first season. Unproven guys. I agree with you 100%, but I do think this team does have some talent on the roster.
I'm not saying don't be optimistic.
And it is the NFL. It is the NFL. I'm not saying 11, 6, 12, and 5, 13, and 4, anything like that.
And I'm giving you the Giants a solid 7 wins. That's no slouch.
7 to 9 wins, I would say, is like around the area where I think they could be. And that's if things fall into place.
And the last thing I want to say. Go ahead. The last thing I want to say is Daniel Jones can't have a rookie year type season. Daniel Jones has got to have a Derek Carr 4,800 yards, almost 30 touchdown type season. Okay, I don't want to hear about his rookie year. Those are pedestrian numbers. Those are average quarterback numbers. If you want an average quarterback and you like average play, by all means, you can keep Daniel Jones and his average play and keep on going. But I want winners. I want a guy that's going to fit the offense. I want a guy that you're going to look at. Justin Herbert. You see that guy for 2 years. You're just like, damn, I want him on my team. What can I do to get? Look what they're doing to that kid. They brought in Khalil Mack. They're bringing in all these guys because they know how good the kid is. They're not sitting here scratching their fucking butt going, I wonder what we should do now. Yeah, we didn't give enough. And they're like, give me a break. I'm just tired of it. And we're overseeing these things. And the fan base is like got this delusional set of glasses on that Brian Daboll, who hasn't coached a head coaching down in his life, all of a sudden is fucking Bill Parcells and going to go this team to the fucking promised land. Give it some time. Let it build.
Well, you know how excited fan bases usually get when they bring in a new regime. Every single fan base gets like that they think that greener pastures are coming and like the positives are coming that way when a new regime comes in. It's just the norm. But I don't disagree with anything you say, Adam. You're right. I mean, there's a lot of unprovenness on this team, and they could, who knows what any of these people are. Daniel Jones could flop again. The whole team could get injured again. Daboll can be a disaster like the previous coaches we had. You're absolutely right. I don't disagree with one single thing you said. I just think that this team, if things fall into place, they maybe could surprise in some of these games they play, and maybe they can win some of these games. We had that
same argument last year. If things fall into place, we went down the schedule, checked every fucking box. Blah blah blah. Denver win, Atlanta win, Carolina win. Blah 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 blah. If things fell into place, the first 2 games they had everybody out in the field. They couldn't do a damn thing against booty ass squads. Nothing. And now you're going to say to me, the first 2 teams we play are Tennessee and Carolina, and everyone, yes, we're laughing at Carolina, but that defense ain't no joke. And we're going to sit here and say, well, if Daniel Jones comes out and has a terrible game because Tennessee rattles his cage, right? I mean, I hope he comes out and throws 400 yards and proves me wrong and says, here, Adam, eat a dick for, complaining about all this shit with me. I doubt he's going to do it because, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid like everybody else is. I kind of smell something that smells bad. I'm going to leave it alone. If you want to eat it, you can eat it. But what I'm saying is if he has a bad game against Tennessee and Carolina, who probably will now have Christian McCaffrey because, he gets injured after week 2. Of course, he's going to only be there for the Giant game. If he comes in and Carolina wins their game and we lose, that's pressure time. Now we can't go in there and be like, we beat Carolina last year because that's the same argument we had last year. People told me we're going to beat Washington because we beat them all year. Guess what record we were in the division? We went 1-5. Okay, we didn't beat Washington last year. So now I've talked too much.
You want to hear a premium take?
That was a premium take right there.
You want to hear a premium take? Matt Corral Matt Corral is going to beat out Sam Darnold in training camp and become the starting quarterback
see
for the
it.
Carolina Panthers week 1.
I could definitely see it.
That is
Definitely
my
wanted to
premium
see that.
take.
Mac
Sam
is
sucks.
bringing
And
the fire tonight.
Yeah, and I wanted to say too, also as we wrap this up, thanks for Adam for that awesome premium take he just gave. I do agree with him, and I don't even think like this is you said that at the very beginning as you were saying it, I was laughing because I don't even think Derrick Henry needs 15 carries to go off. You know, that's Derrick Henry. You know what I'm saying? And we don't know what we have on defense. Yes, on paper our defensive line looks good, but what if they don't? What if they don't play up to the expectations? Who do we have in the backfield? I'm not disrespecting our secondary, but one injury away from who's back there now. And that being said, like I do agree with him, but then also I do still stand at the Giants being third, just based on because of the fact that I have us winning 7 games, but I also have Washington winning. I have us winning 7 or 8 games. I've Washington winning around 6 to 8 games. So if I have those 2 teams tied up,
I think those teams will definitely be
I'm gonna
jockeying
have
for
my
third
team
and fourth.
above that team. That being said, Adam made absolutely amazing facts. Don't want to take away anything from that. Let's wrap it up here. You can find me at Zion Zenith. Thank you so much for joining the show. You guys go right ahead and plug your channels. And Mac, if you want to end us off.
Well, you know, you can find me, MAC, Giants fan, Mac the Giants fan, man, right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, you know what I mean, TikTok, wherever. Mac the Giants fan, MAC, Giants fan, man. You can catch me and Adam doing that NFC East roundup coming up when that season starts each and every Wednesday night. We're going to drop a couple off-season episodes in here for y'all until then.
You got to plug. Wait, no, Mac. You got to plug the NFC East roundup the Mac way. We need the
Come on,
Mac
Mac.
way.
You know how you do it, Mac. You know how you do
Come
it.
on, man.
Well, all right, you got to catch me and Adam each and every Wednesday night when the season starts on the Real Deal NFC East Roundup.
There we go.
That's what I'm talking
Catch
about.
that
There we
each and every Wednesday night when the season starts.
Yes,
And like I said, we have been sprinkling in some off-season editions. And then you also catch me along with the Horsemen each and every Sunday. Soon that's going to be changing soon. Fellas, it's going to be changing soon. It's not going to be able to be on Sundays for very much longer. Unfortunately, we're going to have to work that out amongst us.
How you doing, Tuto?
But, yeah, we'll be bringing this premium taste to you each and every week, regardless.
absolutely.
Whatever day it's going to be on.
Absolutely.
What's going on, Tudo?
What's up, Tudo? Let's get it, Jeff.
Well, first up, I want everybody in the chat from now on, every time the premium takes hit the stream, everybody throw up them fours for the 4 horsemen right here. The 4 horsemen of the YouTube Giants community right here. So throw up them fours before we do anything. You can catch me over at NYGJeffyT3285, where I'll be covering the New York Football Giants. I got a couple of off-season stuff coming away. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a breakdown of every single positional group for the New York Giants headed into training camp. I got some off-season stuff with the Brooklyn Nets. What's going to happen with Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, all that stuff. The New York Mets as they go into as they go through the second half of the season, if they're going to make any additions. WWE wrestling, you know something's always breaking, something crazy or out of the realm for that whole thing. So you can catch me over there. Catch me on Premium Takes every single Sunday with the boys right here. And just thank you very much, everybody in the chat. And thank you for being at the stream. We appreciate it so much. Throw up them fours, y'all. Adam, kick it away.
I just want to say thanks to everyone in the chat for keeping it lit with us tonight and keeping the show going. That's, I think, why we extended it an extra half hour or so, because you guys were just feeling us. So, thank you for that. Hardcore Sports, thank you for letting us use your platform to kind of get everything out there and putting it on our channels. Thank you there. I am Adam Costas. You can catch me on YouTube, The Hurry Up. I do a Hurry Up, which is basically a rundown of certain news and topics in NFL, predominantly Giants, but mostly the NFL. And then I do a Hurry Up Live every, Thursday or Friday morning, depending on if I can get the time to do it. And I just go over whatever topic is bothering me that day for the NFL. And sometimes I get these great gentlemen with me who, Mac, who one of my great followers, he always doing something at work and he'll always be in the chat and engaging. So, Mac the Giant Fan, sum up to him. He will listen to your stuff. He will be in your conversations, and he will help you be where you are. Speaking of Mac the Giant Fan, he has invited me, as you heard, to the NFC East Roundup, coming to you every Wednesday. That show is going to be fire. We're going to be burning down YouTube right now. I'm just letting you know that right now. People, it's appointment YouTube watching for us. If you don't come in live, you'll come in after and watch the rerun, because guess what? It's going to be fire. So, with that being said, the other show you can catch me on is this lovely show, The Four Horsemen of YouTube. My four guys, the guys I ride with, the guys who ride with me, who have been with me since day one, who go through all our ups and downs when I call them in the middle of the afternoon with an idea. They don't hang up on me when they should, but I love these guys. So Premium Takes, these guys, they give it to you real. They sub up to them. They got great content, man. They do great things, and they're just great people. So thank you for being a part of the show. And Zion, close us out, baby.
Yes, bless up all of you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I actually wanted Mac to close us out because that voice is just amazing. So go right ahead, Mac.
Mac, you know what to do.
Oh, look, I'm just saying, look. Y'all put me on the spot with the closeout. But anyway, look, y'all can catch us again next week, man, here on Premium Takes, man. It's me and the Horseman, Zion Zenith, NYGJeffyT3285, Adam Costas, and myself, Mac the Giants fan. It's the Horseman, and we about to ride up out of here. Throw them fours up one more time for the Horseman. Premium Takes, baby. We up out of here. Pass.